come to give you what you love. It's time to give you what you love. I'ma give you what you love. Give you what you love.
Well, good afternoon. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice or watching me on any social media platforms like YouTube or Facebook, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and I am your host on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 1 to 4 p.m. Welcome, y'all. Happy spring. It's the 4th day of spring. We've been outside doing what we needed to do. I spent my morning at the doctor's office, and so let me use this as a public service announcement to let all of you know that if you have annual checkups that you need to get done, if you know that you're at in a certain age category where you have to get colonoscopies and mammograms and PSAs done for Lord, and I can't even remember it now. It just went right out my head. I'm sorry. I just got back in, and so I kind of skedaddled into my chair and been having a bunch of conversations. I just need you to go and get your regular checks done. And if you feel something is wrong or off, please go and get it taken care of. My friend Leah was not feeling well, made it a doctor's appointment. And really the doctor should have told her to go to the hospital based on what her symptoms were, and she made it a doctor's appointment and did not make it. And so I'm telling all of you, just please go and get all of your things done, right? If your thyroid checked, get your heart checked, get all those things checked. And if you don't have health insurance, because a lot of people in this country do not have health insurance, then find a clinic that will take you. But hear me when I say this, find someone who will listen to you. I walked into my doctor's office this morning, and in there was a student, a medical student, and she asked if he could come into the waiting room with me, and I said, sure. And I gave him a whole earful about assumptions, gave him a whole earful about our medical history, that he's not to assume from looking at a black and brown person what is or isn't, and that they're to listen. And oftentimes as patients, no matter how degreed or educated or not that we are, it is hard for us to describe what's going on with our bodies, and we are to be listened to and not dismissed. Because I am on a one-woman crusade and telling people to fire doctors that do not listen to you. Get rid of them. Your health and well-being is absolutely worth you're getting rid of them. And don't believe that just because they have a degree behind their name and they have a stethoscope around their neck, if you know what stiff-necked behaviors look like, you know when someone is not listening to you, go ahead and get rid of them. Get rid of them. Plenty of doctors in the ocean, right? And I have also been on a one-woman crusade in finding lists of doctors that you all can go to and that you can see. I've given you some recommendations here, and I will continue to give you the recommendations as I move along. But yeah, let me see, because I have Maurice from North Philly on already. Maurice, how are you, darling? Good afternoon.
How's you doing, Sister Andrea?
I'm better today. I'm getting a little bit better each day, you know?
All right. I just want to make a quick statement. Not on your show, but it was a show before your show. Two things people was talking about. Economics, we should go to school and open up businesses and different things. That's wishful thinking, because American education don't teach you to do for yourself. It teaches you to do for white corporations and white businesses. Secondly, we asked the question, why is so many white people can walk away from shootings and mass shootings and not get killed, but a black man can go to the store and walk on the street and get killed? We have to go back to 1857, the Dred Scott case. And the Dred Scott case that a black man had no respect, that a white man had to honor. So when we take these laws for granted, the laws are on the book, the issues are there. And if you go back last year, when the 3 police officers was in North Carolina, and they were overheard saying, we ain't going to do this, we're not going to respect that, they got fired for that. Based on the Dred Scott case, but it happened last year. And the superior who just took over was a black chief, and just took over the day before. He fired him the next day. That's what we have to go back and understand.
You know, Maurice, let me say this to you, because I learned about Dred Scott when I started doing my digging, right? How many Americans do you think know about the Dred Scott case?
Not many.
Honestly.
Not many.
Right,
that's what
because
hurt us.
when you listen to the conversations, Maurice, all over the place on social media, on the air, wherever we are, when you listen to the conversations, it becomes very clear that people are in the moment. They're not understanding the history, the laws that are on the books from way back when. That's causing these things to continue to manifest themselves today, right? And so I keep saying to people, why are y'all surprised? Why are we still surprised? And why are we acting in shock and awe when we see someone kill 9, 10 people and are, escorted gently to the car, and we hear things like they were having a bad day, and why are we so shocked? How do we go about shifting this, knowing what's on the laws, on the books, right?
Yeah. Can I ask you a question, Sister Andrea?
Sure, hon, sure.
I sent you an email concerning the shooting in Atlanta.
I did not get that. I did not. Wait, Maurice, hold on. I did not get it because I just checked my email, so that may have gone somewhere else. Hold on. Let me just double check to make sure I didn't have it. No, Maurice, I don't have an email from you.
I sent it to Al Sanders.
A.L. Sanders at WURDradio.com?
No, not that one. The other email.
Oh. All right. All right.
Anyway, the point I was making is, once that police officer made a statement, he set the precedent for that guy, Kate.
Yes, he did.
He took it from hate to sex. Not only took it to sex, whoever advised this kid gave him good advice. Why? Because he weighed his plain hearing. There's no record but what the record that the sheriff's statement made. There's no other record. So the pressure is on the court and the district attorney now to find something. We know he did it. That ain't the point. The point is what they're going to charge him on.
Right.
Is the key. And by the sheriff already laying out the case for them and for that individual, he took the pressure off the individual. So whatever they have now is only based on what the sheriff said, nothing else.
Exactly. And you also see, did you see, Maurice, how they're talking about how he was indoctrinated by the church? You can see the whole thing being set up.
Whole thing, because remember, the record said he went to the church and complained about a sex addiction. Now they changed the whole narrative, and that's the only narrative they have so far. So if something happened crazy in that case, it's because they laid the groundwork early on a sex addiction. And he went to the church a couple of years ago and let them know about his sex addiction. That's on record. There's nothing
and his parents were the ones that indoctrinated him, right? When you do the reading, the parents are the one who said that they didn't want him to become sexually active, and so they put him in the church, and the church put him through this rigorous thing, and on and on and on and on and on. And so you see all of this being set up, and this is why, as media professionals, we also have to be careful, right? Because we fall prey to the stuff that is being said, or we use our implicit biases when we're reporting. We have to be incredibly careful in all of this. Let me ask you this, Maurice. What do you think we should be doing? Let's start here in Philadelphia. What do you think we should be doing? Because I keep hearing it's so much is wrong, and we got to do better. We got to do better. And every day on here, I bring solutions, right? This is what we can do. Start over here, do this over there. Where do you think we should start? I'm asking your opinion.
A town hall meeting.
Okay.
From a town hall meeting, creating an action plan, a plan of action, because we have no economic structure in place to create jobs. We're waiting for the city and the institution to give us what we should do ourselves. No one took a picture from Dr. Leon Sullivan's book. No one understands why Atlanta is the beneficial of a Dr. Leon Sullivan class. If you go to Atlanta, that's Dr. Leon Sullivan work.
Yep.
But we stood up here. We should be a more progressive city, and we're not. So instead of being progressive, we waiting for institutions and government to put us in a position of power instead of taking our own power as a 40% black city and creating our own. I wrote a program for 100,000 jobs. But we have to create a town hall to bring people together, that letting certain people that have things in place funnel money into these places, but they're non-productive.
Yes.
And one of the things I remember telling Miss Emma Chappelle, I said, Miss Chappelle, y'all had more or less back in the day, but you did more. We have more today and we do less. What is going on? The productivity is less. So we have to go back with Dr. Carter G. Woodson called the miseducation of the Negro. We have more education, but we have less knowledge of intellect what to do for ourselves. We only educated to do for other people. And this is why other people come in our community and take full advantage. While we have crime in our community, other people come in there and benefit all type of ways, even from the crime.
Yes.
And when you take a look at it and see who's doing the crime, who's leading the crime, it's not us. It's other ethnic groups. We the ones in the street perpetrating it. But look who's behind the scenes that's stirring the pot up. That's what we have to look at.
And look at and also, Maurice, and also look at the ones who are coming in and collecting the data and then getting the millions of dollars to come and quote unquote do something, and then nothing gets done.
It's not going to get done, and that's a great point. That's a very great point. And it's happening. But they have people that's in the black community. They put them on the front to do their dirty work and to keep us back. But yet, they, like you said, and that's on record. You go on the computer and find what you said. They making billions of dollars off the black community, and the black community don't even know it. Don't even have a clue. But they use the black community as a prop and take billions of dollars. And then they decide who they want to do business with. The black community has an idea.
Yeah, and then they choose in the black community the people with the massive egos who aren't about getting anything done, who just need to have their names in lights and a couple of dollars thrown their way so that they can be quiet and say, look, we have X and X person behind us, and so we're clearly doing the work here, when absolutely nothing is getting done. And that is a problem. That's a problem. And so the one place where I disagree or I'm going to push back on you is at that town hall. If I see another town hall that goes nowhere. So if we're going to do
no one's doing a town hall I'm talking about.
Okay, got you. Okay.
Totally different.
Okay, got you. No, I just wanted you to clarify that. Yes.
No, something totally different. I'm a student of Dr. Leon Sullivan, and I'm a champion of Emma Chappelle. I'm talking about totally something different. This is about us, for us. No, this is something totally different.
Oh, my God. Well, so let me say this. I am just glad that you're calling back. It's a pleasure listening to you, right? You're clearly studied, well studied. You know the history. You know the laws. You go all the way back, and you give us food for thought. I fully appreciate. I missed talking to you. I really do. But I understood when you said that your mother passed away and you were having a hard time and all the other things were going on. But thank you, because what you do now, because when you said the Dred Scott case, I'm like, oh my God. Yes. And that law, has that law ever been taken from the books? Ever?
It's 150 years old. No law is ever taken from the book. What they do, they amend onto that law.
Jesus.
That law never taken off the book. This is why, if you study what Byron Scott did, not Byron Scott, Byron Allen, when he put the lawsuit against Comcast, he went all the way back to 1866. Because the laws were already on the books.
Yep.
And if you go to the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, amendments just for black people to contract and what we should have in our community. Because remember, we weren't part of the Constitution. And when you go into the Dred Scott case, it talks about we are inferior, ordinary people. That we have no right to be, no right to be respected. Because we are the 3/5 human beings. So that was never taken off the books. That law is 150-something years old.
1857, and the Supreme Court ruled 7-2 that a slave, Dred Scott, who had resided in a free state and territory where slavery was prohibited, was not thereby entitled to his freedom, that African Americans were not and could never be citizens of the United States, and that the Missouri Compromise of 1820, which had declared free all territories west of Missouri and north of latitude 36 degrees was unconstitutional. The decision added fuel to the sectional controversy and pushed the country closer to civil war. And quite frankly, I think that's where we're right now, in another version of civil war.
You're on point.
Yep. With all these mass shootings, I'm telling you, I'm looking and I'm going, why are we still shocked? Do we not see the handwriting on the wall that what's coming here? You know?
Not just the mass shooting, sister. What about the John Lewis bill? They're trying to get through the voting rights.
Come on.
See? That ties into that. We think it's up to date. No, they go all the way back to 1857, using the John Lewis bill to still. This is really that's a great question they ask: are African Americans citizens of the United States? And if we were citizens, as Malcolm X said, why do we have to keep getting a civil rights bill every few years?
Yes.
So that's a great question, and you were on point. We're still dealing with that today. It just renamed it. But if you understand the concept of the law that's implied in there, you can apply it back to 1857.
Yes,
It's
you're
all the same.
absolutely right. Because when you
That's
look
the
at
root
it, all they've done is just renegotiated what it looks like in modern day, right?
Same thing,
Yeah, because if we were considered equal people when we were being shot and killed in the streets and we showed up to protest, then we would have been heard, right? All we kept hearing was all lives matter. I'm watching now all these white folks are being shot, police officers are being shot and killed with impunity, and all of a sudden those people are mute. You can't hear anymore about how blue lives matter. So the police lives don't matter when it's white people shooting and killing them? Do we see the difference here, right? In the way, because of the way they viewed us. And you're right, the Dred Scott case, it is said here that the Supreme Court, Chief Justice Charles Evans Hughes, famously characterized the decision as the court's great self-inflicted wound. It was the most egregious example in the court's history of wrongly imposing a judicial solution on a political problem. Sounds
Can you say
familiar?
one more thing, sister?
Yes.
That police officer that died in the insurrection on January 6th, everyone that locked up is responsible for that police officer death. If you have 6 black guys, one guy go into the bank, we all robbed the bank, and one guy, even though they locked the 5 of us up, and one guy shoot a police and he died, we all get that body.
Absolutely.
For conspiracy. That's a Second Amendment thing they use to incarcerate you for committing a felony within a felony. Even though they didn't know that officer was going to die, but by their actions, he died. All of them are responsible for his death.
I'm so, man, are you on my calendar for Thursday, Maurice?
I put an email. I like to be. I'm waiting to find out. I put an email in. Leave your email with Michael before you hang up, right? And then I will make sure that Brianna gets it sorted, because we need to have a good conversation without it just being your calling in. All right? Okay. Yes.
Talk soon, my brother. All right. Bye-bye. All right, bye-bye. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'll take Kathleen, and we'll bring up Pastor Waller, who's in the waiting room. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Attention WURD audience, do you know that you can get help with your PICO energy bill? PICO is here to help you with financial help through various assistance programs, including the PICO CAP program, which provides a monthly credit for eligible low-income customers based on the customer's total household gross income and energy usage. If you are experiencing financial hardship, you may qualify for the PICO CAP program.
And PICO Cares is the customer assistance and referral evaluation service designed to assist special needs, low-income customers who have a temporary personal or financial hardship that prevents the payment of your PICO energy bill. If you have a special needs child or adult in your care, your household may qualify for the CARES program.
Call 1-800-774-7040 today to see if you qualify due to an existing situation or a change in circumstances within your household. Call 1-800-774-7040 today for more information on the PICO CAP or PICO CARES program. PICO, powering our communities.
Just one more step. You got it.
You're doing great. This is the sound of a nationally ranked top rehabilitation hospital, home to the largest collection of robotics in the United States, where we continually exceed patient expectations, because no injury is too severe or too minor for our care.
There you go.
This is the sound of success. Moss Rehab. Challenge accepted.
This is not a fad for us.
We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are
Undeniably,
indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media.
WURD.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Just before we pull Pastor Waller in to have our weekly conversation, let me take Kathleen from Montgomery County. Kathleen, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
I can. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm good.
I mean, I'm grieving, but in terms of, it's a long story. So I have 3 questions, and you can think of the movie Yentl. What is the movie Yentl? This girl wanted to get into rabbinical school, and it was her questions that destroyed the rabbi. And I have seen you as capable. Now, you do modulate very well, but your questions could probably destroy most people. So my questions are, can we study the language of respect? Now, let me unpack that. There was an article about Yardley, PA, where this lovely woman had gone to school in Yardley, and it was this long article about trends and how when she had gone to school in Yardley, there were plenty of people who looked like her who taught her. And then, lo and behold, years later, her own child is being taught by people that don't look like her. And I was baffled, like, what's going on? And there's all these expulsions of preschoolers, and I'm like, why are we expulsing preschoolers? And buried in the article, was how these young men respected the older women. And I know that you do that, and I'm going to start crying because I'm so happy I met you. But in some ways, and I had to learn that the hard way, because the other thing I'm grieving over is this brilliant gentleman named James Dennis. James Dennis is this jazz genius, and he had health issues and died. And I showed up late because I was so nervous. And the thing is that I should not be capable of training people how to show up as the lone white woman to a funeral, because that was the 3rd funeral I'd shown up as, and I was like the lone white woman. And I freak out when I get there because I think people are like, how do you know this man? And it's like, they were my mentor. Right. James loved everybody. Right. And the thing is, I didn't know I was autistic. I don't know I'm annoying. And, like, I had no idea. I had to learn that later. Right. And, like, James accepted me, and I really wanted him to help people. But anyway, so I'm ranting. But, like, this is so upsetting that we can't keep these men alive who are jazz geniuses. I wanted to be mentored by the brilliant jazz violinist, John Blake. And then there's Chappie Washington. He lives near me. He introduced me to the Clef Club because he lives near me. I ran into him on the train. So I'm so sorry to rant. How are you?
That's okay. I am good. I have Pastor Waller waiting, but I just want to say this to you. You learned differently. You were not irritating. Do you hear me? Choose your words differently so that people will treat you differently, because your words have power. So you're being autistic does not mean that there's anything wrong with you. It just means you learn differently. You see through a different lens, and that is okay. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
All right,
I
my sister. We'll talk soon, because I got to get Pastor Water's gonna be on the show. But call back again. I'd love to talk to you some more. Okay?
Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome, darling. All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. So, coming up next, it's Reverend Dr. Alan E. Waller, who is a senior pastor of the Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Pastor Waller, how are you, sir? I see you.
Hey.
So you left me hanging last week. You see, lucky for you, I know how to pivot. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good, trying to hang. I was trying to tell people to go get their doctor's visits in, now that spring is here and we're getting vaccinated and we can go out a little bit more to get their doctor's visits in. Look, so much is going on in the city. Yeah. Where do you want to start? Because I swear.
I want to talk about, this is all I'm going to be talking about for a while. I had a good conversation with Senator Vincent Hughes, a couple of other lawmakers, and the governor. I'm very excited that, at least in its form right now, the governor's budget does include putting all the money through the fair funding formula, which is a golden opportunity. Now, he's still got to get it passed. And there are a lot of people that don't want it to pass. So we need to pay attention, because at least it's in there from the beginning. And we got to keep pressure so that he doesn't fold. But in this conversation, something came up that I think we need to prepare our community for. On Sunday, I said I called for the cancellation of all high school proms. And let me tell you why. 60% of the new jobs that are coming to Pennsylvania will require a degree, a certification, or licensure of some point. Now, obviously, I called for the cancellation of proms to get everybody's attention. What I'm trying to suggest is that the high school diploma for this generation is not what it was for our parents or even for us. Anybody that expects to reap the benefits of this coming economy or this coming opportunity cannot stop at high school and think they're ready. And we cannot, and we have to prepare for it. They already see coming down the pipe. When I listened to that, it made me know that what I'm focusing on. Now, that does not mean the old elitist position that everybody has to get a college degree.
Right. I was just getting ready to ask you. There you go. Okay.
It does not mean that.
Okay.
It does mean that whatever you choose, more so than not, is going to require some further certification or licensure of some sort. Whether you're going to do hair, fix cars, be the head janitor of a building, you got to have certification to run that HVAC system. And now post-pandemic, even that is going to require understanding what does it mean to have proper mitigation in a building. I am all in on let's prepare our community to take advantage of what's coming. The reality is in the top 20 businesses or top 20 employers in this country, most of them are either educational facilities or medical facilities. That's where the jobs are. Everybody knows that this region is meds, eds, and we used to say beds because this is also a large tourist attraction. But in the top 20 businesses that are employing people, none of them are in the in sort of the tourist industry thing. And so I'm excited that Joe Biden has passed this, the American Recoveries Act. I'm excited that $1.2 billion is getting ready to come into the Philadelphia area. I have good reason to believe that we are structured in a way that but we must pay attention to how that 1.2 billion comes down and goes to Black businesses. And we in the Black community cannot settle for the term minority or diversity or inclusion.
Come on.
We have to say Black and brown. And so I'm cautiously optimistic that some things are about to happen. But I am concerned that we be prepared and stay vigilant so that when it happens, we can take advantage of what's coming this way.
Okay, so that's why I have you on every Tuesday, right? So that you can bring these kinds of things to us. What do we need to know right now as these monies start to come in? Because you can see the sharks circling the chum in the water, right? It's $1.2 billion. That's a lot of money. And we don't want it to get into the hands of people who are just going to take it, fatten their pockets, and still nothing changes in this country. So what are we in the city? So what are we supposed to be looking for now?
Well, number one, I think for me, now we need to keep our eyes on the ball around public education. Need to make sure that at the state level, the fair funding formula goes through. And we need to make sure that the state doesn't try to back away from its full commitment because other federal dollars are coming as well. Right now, we have a chance to have an overage come to our Philadelphia public schools because there's some money coming from the federal government, and then there is the rightful money that is coming from the state. So we need to stay politically active to press our representatives, also knowing that once you get into the middle of the state, they don't care about Philadelphia.
Right.
And they stand to lose if we get what is coming to us. So understand the fight and understand that what attracts government dollars is collaboration. This is not the time for any of us to be an island. And so to the degree to which we can partner with and work with each other and trust each other, that is going to be more attractive. We need to continue to be supportive of the work of Della Clark and what she is doing. We need to hear, you know, I'm sad to hear about the passing of Emma Chappelle. I was getting ready to say Joanne Bell, but that's the team. No, I'm not killing off Joanne. But Emma Chappelle, which we need to remember what she was a part of developing, and we need to say there's no reason in the sixth largest black city in America that we can't keep a black bank. And that we need to think about how we come together to save that institution. It will be an indictment for $1.2 billion to pass through Philadelphia and a black bank not make it. And I'm not suggesting that they're on dying. I'm suggesting we need to be thinking about how we do business with that black bank. And so I want to leave it there for where we can all focus. I said the thing about the prom so people can start talking. You know, somebody can call me crazy. That is just a catchy title. I know there's a need for a prom to celebrate. What we can't allow people to do is think of high school graduation as the final thing that it was for our parents and even to a certain degree for us. When you and I graduated from high school, there was a pretty good shot at either going to college or going to the military or going into a manufacturing job. The difference is in 1970, there were over 350,000 manufacturing jobs in Philadelphia. Today, there are 23,000. That's the difference. There was a time when GM was a major employer and was paying a living wage. Now the major employer is Walmart. Right. And Walmart is not treating its people the way GM treated its people a generation ago. Now, that's not to suggest that people shouldn't be entrepreneurs, but being an entrepreneur, you need to understand that that's hard work.
It is.
And it takes commitment. Now, where entrepreneurs come in, and we need to challenge the system to make sure that entrepreneurs have access to capital in ways that the white guys have had access to this capital in times past. Our businesses, many black businesses, have not suffered because they're not good. They're undercapitalized. And that has to do with historic problems of how banking institutions and other lending institutions view black business and view the future of black people. So that's all I got.
Council member Derek Green was talking about a proposal in City Council where people who would not, entrepreneurs or people who are starting businesses that are black and brown in the city of Philadelphia, instead of going to a regular bank, would come to them. They would be like the co-signers of that funding, that capital, so that they could get it. I have not spoken to him since that conversation some weeks ago, but I'm going to follow up on him based on the conversation you and I are having now about where that is going, because you and I can intellectually have this conversation, but putting the people in the right spaces where they can go and actually gain access to this money, because the gatekeepers know exactly what to ask for and know what we don't have, right? So where are we training folks around making sure that your books are set up properly, making sure that you're legally in good legal standing, so that when you go to apply for certain things, they can say, we need to see how much money you made 6 months ago or a year ago. We need to see if you have business insurance. We need to see all the things that will stop us from getting what we need, right? And even if we gain access to that money, there needs to be some sort of training around how to make that money grow, not just to take the money and put a certain amount of it in the business, but how to put it back into the business so that it can produce more, so that you can expand and grow. Am I making sense, Pastor Waller?
You are, and I would encourage you to reach out to Steve Saunders, Sandra Dungy Glenn, Taib, I can't call his last name, but they've got an initiative that I think is very important.
Okay.
And those three are people who have a heart for our community and are serious about developing opportunity and access to capital.
Yes.
And so Taib, Steve Saunders, Sandra Dungy Glenn, Della Clark,
who I have met and fully appreciate her.
Yes.
That is a businesswoman to her core.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And Charmaine
Matlock Turner.
I think those are the voices that we need to lift up and hear. And we need to remember to celebrate those persons who have put their money where their mouth is. Dr. Walter Lomax, the Lomax family. You know, I got involved with WURD when Lomax bought the station. And I know for a fact that it was bleeding, and he was bleeding for the first few years. And he bled for the African American community to keep this station. And I think it's important for us to remember that, never forget, and celebrate those persons. In a capitalistic society, there are always we're going to need, and some people may take issue with me on this, but there are going to be rich people, and all rich people are not bad. It's what you do with your wealth. And we're going to need to not hate on those who are wealthy in our community, because when it is held accountable and when it comes from a good heart, they can't help it to reign. And Walter Lomax has done his part to try to help it. And WURD is one expression of that.
Yes, I absolutely agree. And I would also dare say, for those of us who have the pleasure of having the microphones in front of us, to be very mindful about how we use it, right? Because that's his legacy, that he opened up the door and bled for years to make sure that we'd be able to have this kind of platform when we would have otherwise been ignored in other media platforms, right? So we too, as hosts and producers, have to take it responsibly and not make it about ourselves and our egos. So I'm going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll come back to what's happening at Enon in terms of vaccinations, food distributions, and the elections. We're going to talk a little bit about that, okay?
Cool. All right.
All right. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
We do all we can to ensure our kids are happy, healthy, safe, and strong. Having high-quality, low-cost health insurance helps make that possible. With CHIP, your child can have medical, dental, eye care, and more for free or low cost. Whether you're self-employed, unemployed, or your employee benefits are just too expensive, CHIP is there for you to help your child be strong. CHIP Strong. Apply or renew today at 800-986-KIDS or go to chipcoverspakids.com.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
The Mattress Man is a second-generation family-owned mattress specialist business since 1988. Open 7 days a week, located at 7421 Stenton Avenue. The Mattress Man discounts Serta, memory foam, orthopedic, and ComfortTech mattresses every day. You deal directly with the owner, Julian, to ensure you get the best price and best service. The Mattress Man offers same-day delivery on most models to most areas. Ask about the WURD discount. Call 215-424-5550.
The Black Words Book Club.
WURD Radio's new monthly conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. For April, WURD Radio is partnering with the Free Library of Philadelphia and showcasing their pick for its annual citywide reading program, One Book, One Philadelphia, entitled The Tradition by Jericho Brown. Be sure to listen live, as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it. Tuesday, April 13th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for WURD members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit WURDradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color. livelihood. WURD Radio's new initiative, connecting Black Philadelphians with jobs, entrepreneurship resources, small business development information, and financial literacy tools. Learn more at wordworks.com. That's WURDWORKS.com. And stay tuned to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDRadio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you're just joining us, I have on the line with me the Reverend Dr. Alan E. Waller, who is the senior pastor of Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church. Couple of things, Dr. Waller. There were some guests that called in yesterday who said something about pastors coming together for $1 million from the city. I may be misquoting them. Is any of this making any sense?
I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't.
A bunch of pastors came together and said that the city needs to, that they have this plan and that the city is going to give them $1 million. I'm not quite sure. I'll ask, maybe those guests will call back in and I'll deal with that. The other thing, though, is that.
I don't know. No.
Okay. All right. I could see your eyes spoke volumes. I'm good. I got it. Okay. The other thing, though, is a woman asked here on the social media page, she said, is any of this stimulus money going towards housing and helping the elderly to maintain and repair their homes? Are you aware of any of that? Because we're all still trying to figure it out.
I am not the expert on that, so I don't know. I know that there are a lot of pockets that this money is coming down, and I would suggest that you get someone like a Vincent Hughes, Ryan Boyer. Well, he is, over the unions. He is also a co-chair of a Philadelphia Alliance, which is a group that is coming together, cross-cultural commitment of business and labor to make sure that those dollars get where they need to go. And so I would encourage Ryan Boyer to have that conversation.
Okay, I'll reach out to him, and I'm sure somebody in his campus listening. Y'all here, I need to talk to Ryan Boyer to have this conversation about what happens with housing and maintaining it for the elderly. All right, so what's happening at Enon this week in terms of vaccinations, etc.?
The same stuff. Vaccinations are going on right now, and that's through Einstein. And of course, on Thursdays, there's a produce that goes out. And then, of course, next week, it's Holy Week. That's our week. I mean, we got a lot of exciting stuff. And I really, at the end of the day, I am a pastor. I'm a Christian. I celebrate the risen Christ. And for me, the big week of the year is Holy Week. And so Palm Sunday is coming up. We're going to do the palms on Saturday. You can pick them up. Everything is virtual. We're not rushing back into the building, but we're going to have programs every evening. Well, Tuesday evening is a youth program. Thursday evening is a tradition called Maundy Thursday, which is a celebration of Jesus when he washed his disciples' feet before he went to the cross. And then on Good Friday, which is the celebration of Jesus' 7 utterances on the cross. And we're going to have that virtually both at 12 o'clock and at 7 o'clock on that Sunday. And then, of course, Resurrection Sunday morning, we're going to gather together. We're all wearing Enon swag. Even before, had we been going to church, we're going to wear T-shirts. We're trying to push on some of that makes people feel uncomfortable with coming out because they can't afford a suit.
The Easter finery, right.
Yeah, so we're asking everybody to wear some Enon swag. And we're just going to celebrate what I believe is a fundamental truth, and that is Jesus got up from the grave. That's why we do the social justice work, because Jesus was a political figure. He came at a time when Rome was trying to usher in Western thought. Rome was ushering in a hegemony. Rome had already burned down the library to tell the lie that Greek philosophy is the best philosophy, but it is, as G.M. James points out, stolen African philosophy. Jesus came to right those wrongs. And those of us that truly love Jesus Christ understand that we celebrate him, and yes, we believe in heaven, but we work on earth for justice, because love in public is justice.
Come on. Well, on that note, it's been a good week. Thank you so much, Reverend Waller. Right. I am going to, it's kind of hard to get Vincent Hughes on here, so if you can pull some strings. Okay. Please pull some strings for Mother, and see if we can get the both of you on at the same time to have some conversation.
All right.
All right?
Yeah, thank you for all you do.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Take it easy, sir.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right, Prince, are you there?
Hey, how are you?
All right. Can you hear me properly?
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right. All right. Go ahead, sir. What's going on? Because, Lord Jesus, so much is going on.
We're going to give you a little bit of homework.
Okay.
So I want you to write
Prince?
this down.
Jesus.
I want you to write this down. You ready?
Okay. Uh-huh.
It's called the Clergy Coalition of the Unheard. UNHERD.
You almost made me cuss. What of the unheard?
It's spelled UNHEARD.
Okay. All right. Hold on.
You got it?
You know I'm about to look this up, right? Keep going.
Okay. Now we're gonna go from 1 to 15. You ready?
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, number 1, Dr. Mark Tyler, Dr. Alan Waller, Dr. Leslie Cunningham, Melanie Du Bois, James Buck, Dr. Donald Moore, Kenyon Gruen, G-E-R-O-W, Dr. Darren McKinley, Dr. William Moore, Nick Delafarrell, Dr. Clarence Wright, Deanne James, Dr. Donald Jones, Bishop Dwayne Voister, and Marshall Mitchell. Do you have that?
All right. So I have Jones, Royster, Mitchell, McKinley, Moore, Taliaferro, Guerin, Bucks, and Waller. Who am I missing?
You're missing Donald Moore, Melanie Du Bois, Leslie Cunningham, got Mark Keller. So this was it's 15 of them. This was a group who had gone to City Council in June the 2nd of 2020, giving 5 demands on what they'd like to see done for what they call their congregation of people who live in the city of Philadelphia, who work in the city of Philadelphia, that they represent.
Right.
These are our demands, and you need to adhere to our demands. And you know what happened? You know what happened June the 2nd, 2020, when they had a meeting in City Council to acknowledge that?
No.
Tell me what happened.
It was ignored?
No. See,
well, what happened?
We are not their people. We're God's chosen people. God had the pandemic come and shut the congregations down. None of the people who they say they represented had the opportunity to go to them churches no more, and that's only an act of God, because if you represented and you spoke and heard from God, he would have still let you lead the flock of his people.
Okay.
And so George said they're asking the DA for $100 million.
Oh, $100 million.
Yeah, they're asking the governor for $100 million so they can control the churches, so they can have some kind of what they want to call themselves, some kind of intimate touch on the black community. And listen, this is the first time you ever heard him say this before. Yeah, some people are going to get rich, or some people are going to be wealthy, but we can use the rich. He's not talking about white rich. He's talking about black rich, off of poor black people. Okay. You see what I'm saying? And so
let me ask you this, Prince. Are they getting this money? Because I just asked them. I said, do you know something about?
We're advocating that they don't. So this is the fight between the have and the have-not, because the have-not have financial resources and have a stake in the game. Now, we couldn't get that stake in the game on the same side as those players are. Okay. You only name people, the Sandra Dundee Gees, the Della Clark. Why would you go to a long shark to get money, even if they look black?
Wow, that's an indictment. That is an indictment.
We going to the state ourselves. Well, see, with any indictment, all you got to come and refute that.
Yes.
If you ask them about, you said there are some Do you know anything about that? He said no. So next Tuesday, when you say, do you know anything about this specific group called the Clergy Coalition of the Unheard, he has to answer for that. This ain't the black coalition. This ain't the black clergy. This is a separate group of black preachers and pastors.
So let me ask you this, Prince. What are you alleging? Because it sounds to me like you're alleging that this money would not go towards the people of their congregation. Is that what you're alleging?
I'm alleging that it just will not go towards those people. It's not going to go to better our community. And why are you at the table with white folks asking them for stuff for us? You don't know us. He hadn't said anything about the murder. Hadn't said anything about the killing. He keeps trying to be at the next level, but the worm in the apple. If you ever have a worm in your apple, it doesn't contaminate the whole. It contaminates the whole apple. So we have a bigger problem that he refused to talk about, and he won't be honest to tell you when you ask him a question. Is there a certain group of pastors that's a part of an initiative? Come on, and so we as the younger generation have felt the sting of dishonesty, have felt the sting of deception from pastors, not from white people. We're dealing with people coming in our neighborhoods and shooting us because they're scared. But these folks have got money to rehabilitate our neighborhoods, and yet our neighborhoods have not been rehabilitated. Matter of fact, less than a mile from where his church is, there was a shooting on Staten Avenue by a brother and a sister on Staten Avenue. And they had more daytime shootings a mile or two from within his church in the daytime in that Mount Airy, Germantown area than ever before. And let me just make a point clear. There was a shooting in Nicetown, right? A week ago, right? You familiar with that? It was on the news, right?
Yes.
We had a party late at night. That area is less than a quarter of a mile from Senator Sharif Street's office, Cindy Badd's office, the NAACP building. You think if these people had intimacy in that neighborhood, that somebody would have gotten a message back to them and said, hey, we can't do that because these offices are here and we respect these initiatives. And let me make one more point. Nicetown got $80 million to rehabilitate a bridge, clean the asbestos off of it, and rehabilitate it. And you know what the politicians let the developers, ask the Congress, ask the residents of that community, ask them one question. You know what that question was?
What?
Before I answer that question, I'm going to tell you what it was. If they didn't ask how many jobs that they could give, how many of your kids or sons or daughters you want to work this job, how many people are available to work this job, they say, what color do you want the bridge? What color do you want the bridge in your neighborhood that has the highest per neighborhood homicide rate?
So Prince, hold on. I'm looking at this letter, right? They asked for a few things. They want to change the priorities in the spending budget. They want to support the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium. The statute for Mayor Frank Rizzo must go now. Stand against the rehiring of ousted Facebook Philadelphia police officers and standing solidarity with Minneapolis. Did I miss something here?
No, there you go. The 5 things. They want to restructure the budget. They want to restructure the budget so they can have a piece of that budget right there. A piece of it for what? To represent our best interest, right?
Oh, I see it. We need a budget that heals. But are they asking for the budget for themselves, or is this a budget for the city? We need a budget that heals by creating jobs and investing in the Office of Workforce Development and the Office of Adult Education instead of cutting them.
There you go. They're not asking for a budget for the city because that's the city council's position. They're asking for a budget so they can control the facets of the money that's coming through from the city. Another thing they asked for, the removal of the mayor statue. This is how limited these pastors are in not understanding politics, because we didn't own the statue that we moved.
Right.
It's in storage, costing us $100,000 a month to put in storage on something we didn't own. So, and then Mayor Kenny did it illegally, because although you appoint the person of the Fairmount Park and Statues Commission, the home rule charter doesn't allow the mayor to remove any statue unless it goes through the board.
Okay. All right.
That's how come the city solicitor, when they called the judge to find out if they can move the statue or not after they already moved it. Another point, you move the statue. The statue, its weight and what it will cost to move made it a collective bargaining agreement. And when you make it a collective bargaining agreement, it can only be moved by union employees.
Got you. Got you. So Michael
see, this is what we talking about, Andrea.
Yes, I got it. So I'm reading up on this stuff now. I'm going to do some more reading so that I can be clear, because I want to be clear that what they're asking for is not money for their coffers, but money for the city to do better and be better, and that the money should be budgeted in different ways. That's what I want the clarity on. And I'm like 2 minutes over time, and Michael is shooting me evil eyeballs via text. But thank you, Prince. I appreciate it, because you opened up my door for me to look at some of these things. And thank you, Andrea Manley, for sending this stuff to me. I appreciate it. Thanks, man. You are listening to The Source. I'm telling you, the WURD listeners giving me a whole earful, and I'm writing and looking and researching. 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Mars Care is a home healthcare leader in the community that invests in the success of our women. Happy Women's History Month. We are offering sign-on bonuses of $3,500 for RNs, $2,500 for LPNs, and $1,000 for aides. But wait, we provide generous pay, quality health benefits, professional development opportunities, and additional monetary incentives. Contact us at 215-763-3992 or marscare.com to learn more.
This Women's History Month, WURD Radio is proud to celebrate Black women innovators and trailblazers who have helped us all level up.
Trailblazing Black woman Roz Brewer is an American businesswoman and Spelman grad who is slated to become the CEO of Walgreens, which will make her the first Black female CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Brewer started her career at Kimberly-Clark Corporation as a scientist. She eventually advanced to vice president of the global nonwoven sector in 2004, eventually moving on to regional VP of Walmart in Georgia. In 2012, she was named president and CEO of Sam's Club, becoming the first African American to lead a Walmart division. She focused on health and wellness by doubling the amount of organic products offered at Sam's Clubs. She is currently the COO of Starbucks, and in 2018, she was listed as the 34th in Forbes' ranking of the most powerful women.
This Women's History Month vignette was brought to you by AARP Pennsylvania, PICO Powering Communities, and Jefferson Health, improving lives by redefining exceptional and safe care, because now more than ever, your health can't wait. Call 1-800-JEFF-NOW today.
In celebration of women,
Nina Simone.
I'll tell you what freedom is to me. No fear. I mean, really, no fear. If I could have that half of my life, no fear. That's the only way I can describe it.
This is WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD. Philadelphia. Independent.
Black media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Now, see, I thought Michael had sent me to the commercial screen. I look over and I see that everybody can see Kira and I talking to each other. Forgive us. Michael, see, you are too much. I love my producers, though, Michael and Brianna. I talk to them all the time. So let me get into the formality of it, and then Kira and I can go forth and get it to happen. Since becoming Chief Defender of the Defenders Association of Philadelphia in 2015, Keir Bradford Gray has been the city's leading advocate for comprehensive justice system reform. Ms. Bradford Gray believes that the defender must not only provide clients with first-rate legal counsel, but also champion innovative programs and partnerships that give communities the power to ensure positive outcomes for those who encounter our justice system. For those of you who may not be aware, Keir Bradford Gray turned in her letter of resignation last week. As of April 15th, she will no longer be the chief defender for the 5th largest defenders association in Philadelphia, but cry not for her, Argentina. Good afternoon, Keir. How are you?
Oh, man, it's so good to be back with you. I swear, diva, mother, friend. Andrea, I love you, girl. I am so happy to be having this discussion with you.
Yeah.
So I'm doing well. I'm
Yes.
doing well. Thank you.
So we since you all caught us on the break talking to each other, what she said was, I miss seeing you and hugging you. And I said the same thing. I said, are you vaccinated? She said, I got one. So I said, as soon as you get the second one, we're going for it, right? Kira and I, just for those of you in the interest of full disclosure, have known each other since Montgomery County days when she was the first chief defender for Montgomery County. And I'm going to tell the story because we laugh when we talk about it now. Oh, I'm sorry. Tell Bill from Germantown I'll get him in a second, please, Michael. Tell him not to hang up. So I remember I said, I got to meet this sister because it's Montgomery County, and they're about to eat her for lunch. And so I sat down, and we had lunch, and I explained to her who I was, because, Mother was always undercover. And I said, if you're going to do this, you're really going to need the community support. And she came across, and I think I told you this, you came across as so open and transparent and almost naive. Almost. Until I sat in a meeting with you some months later and I said, oh, hell, they're not ready. They're not ready. And so that's where our relationship began. And so when you came over to Philadelphia, I was like, all right, so how can we support you? So you're leaving the Defenders Association. Tell the people why you are moving on at this juncture.
Well, why is that I still have a little bit of energy left in my bones to be just as creative in another space. And I know for myself that I feel like I've done tremendous work at the Defender Association. And of course, it's just not me by myself. It's me and a team that was picked by myself and some of the people that were already there. We have created and innovated. The word innovation cannot be underused in terms of what that legacy has been. We did not sit on our hands and talk about what we can't do. We figured out how to collaborate with people, government, community, elite, like the NFL Players Coalition, and create opportunities to fill gaps that needed to be filled, but no one could see the vision that we had until we started to do it. And we really advanced criminal justice reform in our city from that side of the aisle, not necessarily just the prosecutorial side. So when I was thinking to myself, an opportunity came to me to become a partner at Montgomery McCracken Law Firm. And in this moment of civil rights, in this moment of understanding how equity and social equity is so critical to businesses, the private sector, I really wanted to go over there and see what I could do to be as creative in that area, to bring public-private partnerships to bear, as well as to help CEOs and executive directors figure out how they too can make their mission and service deliveries more attuned and aligned to what their constituents and community members need. Okay. And so I am hoping that I am able to bring the same types of relationships, innovation, and creativity to solve some of our unemployment issues, as well as pipeline issues when it comes to diversity in some of these major corporations.
So let's just clear the air on a couple of things. Before you got to the Defenders Association, when you got there, you found that the employees, the lawyers there needed a pay raise, right? Were you able to get them that pay raise, right?
We were.
Right?
We were.
Then you helped to create you really spearheaded from this angle the participatory defense clinics. My Lord, I spent so much time following these cases that I feel like I'm a part of the Defenders Association.
Good.
Right? And you opened up the door so that people in the community, because before you got there, we all knew the Defenders Association was there. We all said it was for the poor people who couldn't afford it. But what a lot of people didn't know was that a lot of white folks who could afford it was coming over to the Defenders Association to get the support that they needed. They knew how to do it, right? And they were in the background. You brought the Defenders Association to the foreground, right? And you opened up the door. And then there was the Michael White case that really launched the Philadelphia Defenders Association. I'm reading the book, The Defender, and I'm going to have you back on to talk about that, because we saw how much work you did, right, with the Defenders Association, and I want to know what your role was in that book, because I'm reading and I'm still looking for your name. I just need you to know. So we'll not talk about that right now.
Yeah, because I'm still looking for it too, but that's okay. We'll tell her story.
Okay. So I just want you to know, one of the things that I have appreciated about you, which is the reason why we went from colleagues to friends, is that we are able to have very hard conversations.
Yeah.
When there were things that we knew wasn't right, we could sit down and talk about. We didn't always agree. We could agree to disagree on certain things, and we could see from each other's points of view. It is what made you the kind of leader that you were for the Defenders Association. Lots of people are going to miss you. But here comes the other question, because you know they were beating down my phone, right? So, what's next for Kier? What's going on? I said, am I Kier's keeper? I pulled the Jesus. Do I look like I am Kier's keeper? I don't know. So the folks want to know, are you running for office? Is that the reason why you're leaving the Defenders Association? Tell the people, please, put it to rest so they can stop blowing up my phone. Thank you.
I don't know what I can put to rest, because I'm saying sky's the limit for me right now. And things I'm open to possibilities. You know, I'm a person that cares deeply about people and will use everything in my skill and resource ability to bring better opportunities for those folks. So wherever that leads me is where I would love, is where I feel like my path is ordered. So wherever that leads me is where I will go. And if opportunity hits at the right time, when you know, it has to be right for me too. I'm not going to do something just because other people want me to do it. It has to be right, because you know I'm authentic in everything I do. And so for me, I have to know that this is where I'm going and this is where I'm heading, and I'm going to use everything I can in my power to make an impact. So I will say, Philadelphia, you're not getting rid of me just yet. Public service is something that I've always been drawn to. While I'm going over into big law and private partnerships, I have to expand that legal network and legal acumen, because it will make me a better, well-rounded whatever. So I don't know, that doesn't answer your question directly and straightforward.
You answered the question, so now the sky's the limit, y'all. She said the sky's the limit. So whatever she decides,
we should always think like that, right?
Yes,
I mean, you know,
absolutely agreed.
Let me say this, Andrea. I think we have so much talent in our city, and especially this women leadership thing. It's not just a cliche. It is a reality that women do bring a different perspective and vantage point to what they do, because we have been so intersectional. We live in 3 different intersections. We look at the world through our lens as a Black person, as a woman, and as a Black woman. That's a lot of understanding that we have, that we bring to whatever role we're in. So I think when, you know, I was always, and you say it all the time, I was unassuming and sometimes naive. I'm not a big self-promoter.
Yes.
But, you know, I'm coming full circle in understanding that me talking about my value is not self-promotion. It is just validation. And I need to be more comfortable at doing that. I've always let my work speak for itself. But I realize it's time for me to show who I am through my words, especially when we have, you know, history that may not include us or the contributions we make.
Absolutely. The people of this city loves you.
Oh, I love them.
How I know. Every time, every time you come on here with me, and maybe it's because of the way you and I interview with each other, because this is not a stilted interview. We really genuinely talk the real talk, right? And so, you know, like somebody just wrote here, Mayor Gray. I mean, they go in all the time. What do you want to say to them? Because they have loved upon you. They have consistently come to forbearance and for your back. They have held you up. I mean, every time something happened and your name was put in a negative light, somebody came on here and said, "No, let me just clear that up for you."
Man.
Not Kier Gear. You don't get to do that to that sister. Because what happened was, Kier, you were front and center. You didn't just get the position and then stayed in your ivory tower. We saw you in the community. We saw you in the meetings. We saw you answering the hard questions. We saw you partnering with people who may not like you, right? Some of you partnered with people who openly disliked you, right? But you thought about, no, seriously, I'm keeping it real, straight. You know, Marvel, 100.
That's why I love you.
You partnered with people who didn't necessarily like you for the benefit of the people of this city. We saw it time and again. What would you like to say now to the people of the city as you're walking away from this role and transitioning into another one?
Well, one, I would say thank you so much for all the report. And Philly is one of those cities. Real recognizes real. Philly knows who's in it for the real reasons and who's in it for the superficial ones. And I just know that you don't have to. When you're a person has efficacy and substance, you don't have to talk about what you do. You can tell you better by your actions than your words. But I will say to Philadelphia's folks, I am not leaving Philadelphia, and I am not leaving this quest for better opportunities for our city, for our neighborhoods, and especially our minority neighborhoods. I am going to do just what I do in everything. I'm a strategist. I was a litigator, and I have training to see visionary strategies where no one else sees them, right? You can look at a case and say, I know how to bring about this narrative when other people are like, oh, that person's just guilty, like Michael White. But I bring a panoramic view to some of these challenges that we face because of my background, because of my experience, because of what I've experienced in my life, being devalued, being marginalized, having to dim my light so that others would feel very comfortable. And all of those experiences, they're humbling, but they're also extremely valuable to get things done. And I am going to do my damnedest to make sure that big partnerships and corporations understand what diversity, equity, inclusion, and the value it brings really does look like. It's not just a talk. It's not just a quote. It's not just a statement that you write when something happens. It is a real commitment to bringing on people like myself, like yourself, like whomever is thirsty to be a GC in a major corporation or be on that team. Why can't we be? And I really want to show that we are just as good as anyone else in these extreme, wealth areas that we can't seem to break through. That's my mission. And so when we start to break through, we start to then, that old adage, when you raise a boy, right, you raise a man. When you raise a girl, right, you raise a village. Right. And I believe when we raise the caliber of our opportunities, we will raise that village.
So you open for taking a couple of calls?
Yes.
Of course. See, I know. See, you're all right with sister. Listen, I have to ask you. All right, Bill from Germantown, line 1. Are you there? Bill? Bill?
I'm here. Hello?
Oh, how are you, sir? What's going on?
I'm great. Love to hear you ladies talk. It's very good to see your interest that's in the community. And I did have a little different thought on my mind, and that was with regard to something you spoke about yesterday.
And that is?
And that was about the vaccinations and people going around to get vaccinated with different types of vaccines. I heard one guy today say that his first dose was from Moderna, then his second dose was going to be Johnson & Johnson.
Now, see, so
I just wanted to share some information.
So, Bill, can I say this to you? The way the federal government is set up, that should not be possible. If that is what's happening, it's erroneous, and that's why we have to be careful about giving out erroneous information. If they look at that person's card and saw that their first vaccine was Moderna, your second vaccine will not be Johnson & Johnson. It just will not be. All sorts of legalities, all sorts of things would happen to people, and so no, sir, no. I'm going to tell you.
Okay, no, you're misunderstanding me. I'm not confirming that what he said was accurate.
Okay.
But what I am confirming is accurate is here. You can go on YouTube and find this for yourself. There's a group called the FLCCC, the Frontline COVID Critical Care Alliance. These are doctors that formed an alliance to use drugs that were already available, not to develop vaccines, to fight COVID. Now, I'm going to leave this as this because I know it's a politically hot issue.
Yes, it
and
is.
A lot of people take sides.
And I'm going to ask you, Bill, to call me back when I'm not interviewing Keir. Michael, find out from the other callers if they have a question for Keir so that so Bill, can you call me back and let's talk about this? I want to have a discussion with you about it. But let me finish this interview. Is that all right?
What number would I reach you?
Same number. Just call me back, and if at some point later on this afternoon around 3:30, call me back and see if we can talk then, okay?
Sure. Thank you.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. All right, Woody. Let's go, Woody. Come on. You have a question for Keir or a comment?
Yes, ma'am. I definitely do. My comment is that I really appreciate both of you guys on at the same time when you have two females that or does the spirit that you two guys have the same type of a spirit? You're aggressive. You want the family, the human family
Did you
to
just call
heal.
us aggressive?
And no, aggressiveness is a good thing. It's not bad. Men like that in women. Now, notice I said men.
Woody, you're gonna get us in trouble.
I'll leave it at that. But Miss Gray, you're something else, young lady, and I'm happy that you're going to stick around to find out what else God has for you to do, and not to leave us all together.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for calling me young lady. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
As long as you're in motion and God has given you a way to keep moving, you know, a person could be 70 years old and be younger than a person that's 50 years old.
That's right. That's right.
You've got to keep that spirit, and the deep part about it, Andrea, and you both have that same type of a way. So I want you guys to keep it moving, because once you keep it moving, you can't stop. But my statement to you is congratulations, number one. And the question I have for you, the future lies within. The internal universe as well as the external universe are one universe. So you kind of know what you're going to do, but it involves helping, and that's what mothers do. So I just want to thank both of you mothers for being mothers and being aggressive mothers that we'll never, ever forget. So once you make your stamp, everybody knows who you are. So please continue to do that same good work. And Andrea, I missed you. Just want you to know that, okay?
You missed
Thank
me.
you for the advice. I appreciate that.
Where'd you miss me, Woody? When did you
No,
miss me?
I hadn't seen you. You remember you were off last week.
Oh, yeah, I had the funeral.
See,
I was
have
off
to
on
remind
Thursday.
you just how much I miss you, because you forget, because you're so busy, right? I used to tell my mom that. She said she had 10 children. She couldn't understand how I missed her because she was doing everything. So I appreciate her as well as my dad, but my mom was, boy, she did a heck of a job working and controlling and keeping the environment. You know, you talk about the environment of the water and the air. Well, there's a mental, emotional environment that involves how you handle people, and you girls both do it very well.
Thank you very much, Woody.
Yes,
Have a
ma'am.
good one, okay?
Thank you, Woody.
All right, bye-bye. My husband, Kier, says that Woody's waiting for him to die.
Get in line. Tell him get in line. There's a lot of men waiting.
Who loves you, baby? Every time my husband hears Woody, he says, "Who loves you, baby?" We cry.
John's going to outlive all of us because of that.
All right. George, how are you, darling? What's going on?
Well, one thing you know is that I'm one who has Kira's back 1,000%.
Oh, I know.
Thank you, George.
What, you know, and if they ever come at your neck, they know they got a world of trouble coming with them. Let me tell you how far it goes back with me knowing Kiera. Everett Gillison introduced me to Kiera way back when she first started being with Everett. And that's a person that I have lots of respect for. And Everett Gillison is one of a kind. But let me tell you, Kiera is the only black African-American, if she ran for mayor, excluding that if she stayed far away from them preachers, that black clergy and all of them, anything she wants to do, she can do. Because all they're doing is everybody wants, you should do this. But Kira, I love her for one thing, is that she makes her mind up. She calls her own shot. Everybody could be in her ear. And she's polite enough to listen to that foolishness they be talking. You know, you should, this, that, and the other. Everybody, she has a gift of seeing through people, of knowing what their agenda is. And it's not many people can do that. But she can do that. These preachers be talking that foolishness to her. And then before you go off today, Kira, can you explain the definition of extortion? Because those preachers that think that they're going to get $100 million out of corporate America, they barking down the wrong tree. The Fed's going to be so far up them. But maybe you can give them a pre-warning of what extortion is. They think it's not extortion, but it is. You know, clearly it's extortion because the corporate America, Sunday was laughing about it. They really think they're going to get this money. They can't get it from the city. They can't get it from corporate America. You better know how to ask for money, and they should stop sitting up, especially those fools around Larry. They'll end up getting Larry in a world of trouble talking about they're going to make corporate America. Corporate America don't owe you anything, and that's why I'm glad you're here, Kiara, so you can explain to them who think that they got your ear. Oh, if she be mayor, we'll do this and we'll. No, if she be mayor, she won't even be able to get on the
George,
second floor.
can I tell you this? I mean,
George, I love you. Thank you so much for all that.
Let me tell you what I know about Kier, because I've sat in a room and watched people tell her what she should and shouldn't do and where she should and shouldn't run. And I hollered when she kindly put everybody in their place. And I just sat in the corner with my little hummus.
You got to realize this, Andrea. Philadelphia clergy don't understand getting put in their place decently. It takes a person like me to put them in their place because, see, you got to know who gets an envelope. That's the only thing that controls people in this city is that envelope. Money is called two things to get elected. Money gets votes and votes get money. There is no third. And if whatever Kiara ran or whatever she decided to do, she has a blessing and a protection, you know, because a certain group of people will come after them with vengeance. If you even thought about the primary person that loves Kiara is the most powerful person in this state, and she don't even deal with that person. But if you say something out the way and it gets back to that person, your whole career is destroyed. I've seen lawyers badmouth her and went out of business just that quick.
Whoa.
All right, George, I got to
Karma is not mine, huh?
I got to go, honey. Thank you for calling and thank you for letting me on Kier, okay? All right, bye. Listen, George be calling in here telling everybody's.
I love that. Well, you know what? They always say karma's not yours.
Come on. Hold on one second. I'll give me a quick minute. I got one more person who wants to ask you a question. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Olaniyan Adefume, author of the Book of Questions, needs your help. He is seeking out responses for an updated version of the Book of Questions Series 2. The topics of the book cover issues of religion, race, sex, economics, politics, and health. One example would be, what do you think of the Capitol riot of January 6, 2021? For more information, reach out to him directly at 215-678-3830 or email him at oadefumi@yahoo.com.
Did you hear the word around the community? HPP and HPF's very own Stacey Scott will be reporting live from WURD, 96.1 FM and 900 AM each and every fourth Sunday of the month from 5 p.m. until 6 p.m. Be sure to spread the word and tune in. Want to call in and be a part of the community party? Email Stacey Scott at scott@hpplans.com. Again, that is scott@hpplans.com.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. A My Social Security account allows you to access your earnings history and benefits information, request a replacement Social Security card, get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you're just joining us, I have on the line with me Chief Defender Kier Bradford Gray, who has just resigned from her position as the Chief Defender for the Defenders Association in Philadelphia, and she's moving on to work for a major law firm. And when we asked if she was planning to do anything else, run for office, she said, the sky's the limit, honey. So y'all stop texting me. I don't have no questions. She said, the sky's the limit. Y'all figure it out. So I have a judge on the line that's waiting to come into the room. So let this last person ask their question, and then we'll bid Kier fare thee well, because she and I are going to have another conversation that you all do not want to miss. Trust me when I tell you. Tyrone from North Philadelphia, are you there?
Peace and blessings, my love.
Hi, darling. I didn't know it was my Tyrone.
Hey, look, since Woody didn't claim his love today, I'm going to claim mine. How's my love today?
I'm fine. What is your question for Kier or your comment, honey?
Well, actually, it's a statement and pretty much a question. You know, before she came on, you heard Prince and you heard George, and I heard her talking about the village. and what we need to do for our children. When we have these difference of opinions, and we have folks, because I'm sure enough going to differ with both of them in terms of the work that these that Reverend Waller and all of those other brothers that's doing work, they're doing work. They're doing work and doing plenty of work. And whatever the issues are that, you know, how they doing it or what they doing it, I don't understand, because we got too many issues that we're trying to contend with. That we got these, you know, difference of opinion, and saying that what one is doing is something wrong. And I'm just saying, everybody that's in this business that's working, well, not everybody, most folks that are in this business or working in the community are doing everything they can to make stuff happen.
All right.
Now,
so Tyrone,
my
tell me what
question
you got for
to
kids.
her.
Okay.
My question to her is, again, you talk about the village, and we're talking about trying to make stuff right for our children. How do we make stuff right when we see those folks who might consider leaders? There's such a fraction and a distaste of what folks are doing. How do we build a village when we got all of this kind of animosity we're confronted with? And how do we stop our children from killing one another? Because that's what the focus of our attention should be, trying to stop our children from killing one another and being killed. Thank you. That's
Can I say this really quickly?
Yes.
You talked about leaders, and I always say leaders are people that have to admit that they don't have all the answers, but they need to ask the right questions. And they need to be continuously asking the right questions to get to the surface so that they can move incrementally, step by step, in making change and making progress in that area. No, anyone who tries to sell you the hoop dream that they're going to come and fix everything right off the bat, you know they're not a quality leader, because leaders should be more self-aware about their understanding of it, which is one vantage point, and how many people they have to bring in to have the panoramic view that I talked about. So I think that we need leadership that's willing to be honest and vulnerable and saying, I don't have all the answers. Share some of that power, because power is not infinite. It's better when we do share it. And what we have done when we've shared power, we have had better solution, more progress in particular areas of challenge than ever before. We used to be talking about Black people being locked up and sitting in jail for no reason. We're making huge progress in that area, because why? We brought people in, we shared the power, and we asked the right questions.
Yeah. Kia Bradford Gray, it was such a pleasure. Such a pleasure.
I miss you so much, and I can't wait to see you.
But as soon as that vaccine is in and 2 weeks has passed, honey, you come on.
Yes, let's do it.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Word family. Thank you, Mama.
See you later, honey. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. That was so good. But, you know, we got to move on, because we have other people waiting to have conversations. And, you know, I have been telling you all that I am going to interview as many judges and many candidates for judges as possible. And so now we have Judge Christopher Maddox, who has been waiting to have a conversation with us. Judge Christopher Maddox is a 1982 graduate of Monsignor Barnier High School. He received a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology from Temple University in 1989. He practices general law and specifically wills and estates. He was first elected to be a magisterial district judge in Upper Darby Court. I'm going to have to see his face. I may know Christopher Maddox, Judge Maddox. Let me see. He's a former vice chair of the Special Court of Judges Association of Pennsylvania. He is the current vice chair of the Education Committee and liaison to the Pennsylvania Bar Association, and he was born and raised in Upper Darby. His mother and father raised 13 children. He's a lifelong resident there. So, good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. We have met.
Okay.
We have met through Tom McCosey when he had his events. I've seen you. So
tell
us what position you're running for in the courts.
I'm seeking actually my 4th term as the magisterial district judge in Upper Darby. They're 6-year terms. So I've had three previous terms, and then now I'm going for my 4th term.
Okay.
All right.
The magisterial judge is the one that, do they come to see you when they have like the drunken disorderliness? Am I making sense? Is that your court? What does your court, what cases do your court hear?
We do a lot. We do all the criminal cases from at their very beginning. So an arrest warrant by the police, a search warrant by the police, they come to us, we approve it. If someone is arrested, they get brought before us for an arraignment, and that's where we typically tell them their rights and maybe set their bail or release them on their own recognizance, whatever's required in that particular case. And then, of course, we'll do what's known as a preliminary hearing, which is the first hearing in the criminal process, which just determines whether it's more likely than not that that individual committed those particular crimes. If we find that, then we hold it over to the Court of Common Pleas. And at the Court of Common Pleas, that's where you have your jury trial, the stuff you see on TV with the jury and the prosecutor and the everything else. But we also do landlord and tenant cases. Okay. So and any of those type cases come in front of us. We do your small, what I call Judge Judy cases, civil cases, $12,000 or less. It could be a dispute with the neighbor, somebody, turfed up your lawn, or, somebody damaged your fence, or a contractor didn't perform the business that they were supposed to perform for you. Those kind of cases, as long as it's $12,000 or less, we'll hear those. And then, as you alluded to, we also do your traffic citations and your non-traffic citations. So your non-traffic citations would be the disorderly conduct, the public drunkenness, etc. So we do a lot. We do a lot.
In this particular magisterial court, do you have to be a lawyer to become a judge, to be voted in as a judge?
Right. In Pennsylvania, there's about 500 of us in magisterial district judges throughout the system. For a magisterial district judge, you do not have to be an attorney. I am an attorney. I'm an attorney since 1992. I'm an older attorney, a more experienced attorney. Okay. But you do not have to be an attorney to be a magisterial district judge. But what you would have to do if you were not an attorney, you would have to take, it's a 4-week certification course in Harrisburg. And then once you go through that course, if you pass the test, that just gives you the ability to yourself forward for election, because as you may know, in Pennsylvania, we elect our judges. In other states, they're appointed. There's pros and cons to both of those systems, but in Pennsylvania, we elect our judges.
So you taught me something that I was not aware of. I didn't realize that you had to go through a 4-week course if you wanted to be a magisterial judge before you decide to run, right? So there's a test you have to pass. You have to know certain other laws, or can you do it while you're running?
You can do it while you're running. It's not recommended, but some people have done that. The downside of that is if you get elected and you don't ever pass that test, you never become a judge, and then they'll give you a year, and then so the seat will be vacant, and it would be actually staffed. It would be staffed by a senior judge while that judge was trying to pass the test. And if they didn't pass the test, then it would just go to re-election the following 2 years later, because we run it on odd number years. So that's why right now we're in 2021 and I'm running. 2022 would be like governors or things like that, not judges. So judges always run in those odd years. So like I said, they would give you a year to pass, and if you didn't, the next year it would go up to re-election for that particular position.
So here's my next question for you. This is your 4th term. Why are you running again? Because you've served 3 terms of 6 years each, right?
Yes.
Tell us why you're running again. Why do you want to retain this seat that you've now had for 3 terms? Because
I love the job. I'm good at it. And I'm very, as you said, my mom and dad raised 13 children. Guess what? They raised it in this community where I'm actually the judge, and that gives me great pleasure to do that. So I grew up here my whole life. Now, I lost my dad about 2 years ago. I lost my mom a little bit more than a year ago, so it's bittersweet this year. The last 3 times I was sworn in, they were with me, and now they won't be with me this year if I win. But still, the point of it is that I'm involved in the community. I'm invested in the community. I actually, as a judge, a magisterial district judge, I can practice law on the side. I do that in my community. I do a lot of pro bono work for the good of the community. Some people just can't afford lawyers. Sometimes in certain cases, you want to step up and you want to help people. And that's pretty much, you know, being raised in, I mean, we were raised in a tribe. It was 13 kids, you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
got it.
So
here's my question for you, and I've been asking every judge this, right?
Okay.
What would it, for you, because you're a little different, you're at the magisterial level. Tell us of a time when you had a case where it didn't turn out well that you wish you had done differently. So what is it about your leadership where you would do something differently now than you would have in the first 3 terms that you worked? What have you learned since then that you would do differently now in this 4th term should you win?
Yeah, I think what I've learned is that as we move along life, we start to acquire more wisdom and knowledge and experience. And a younger judge doesn't have necessarily that wisdom and that knowledge and that experience. They get it, thank God. That's the system. You get involved and then you learn and you learn by doing. But I think early on I was a little more impatient, and now, you know, I had a gentleman come up to me one day after court, pre-COVID, because now we kind of we're shut down, and we can talk about that if you want, how the courts are operating under this what we're going through. But a gentleman came up to me and he said, you know, Judge, I don't know how you do it. I respect what you do. You have the patience of Job and the wisdom of Solomon. And I took that as my greatest compliment I've received over the last 17 years. And that's what I think I've learned. I've learned that patience and that wisdom. And that's, you know, and that's why I want to keep doing it. I love the job.
It is, history has shown that in these courts, especially the magisterial courts, we see lots of people of color. How has your court changed over the years to, and you see what's been going on around the country, right? WURD is a black-owned media station, and so we have a lot of people, I know a ton of people that live in Upper Darby. So what has changed in the court over the years that is more empathetic towards people of color when they have infractions within the system?
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty lucky because, as you know, Upper Darby has a huge population, not only of African Americans, but immigrants. So from day one, I was exposed to that. I've always been involved in the African American community. I'm a member of the board of directors of the Bywood Community Association. I'm involved in all kinds of organizations. And so and I'm a psychology major from Temple University. I think you told people that in the intro. So I think I've always tried to have that empathy. And I think I've been fortunate in coming into a place where that is my community. My community is the African American community. It's the immigrant community. So I've sort of grown along with everybody, and I've experienced some of the pains that everyone has experienced, and I've grown with them, and I've celebrated with them, and I've cried with them, and I've married them. Judges can also do marriages. I've done many weddings for people. But I would say that I definitely have gained an appreciation for, like I said, I grew up in a family of 13. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. But I've grown up, I've come to a great appreciation of some people have it really tough.
Right.
And sort of the system sometimes is stacked against them. And the one thing that I pride myself on is that most of the encounters that I have with the youth are positive and they're teachable moments. Okay. And we kind of move the ball forward. And we don't focus on the bad and the negative. We say, hey, how can we get through this? Right. And how can we get to a better place? And I think that is the future of judging. They call it trauma-based. They tell you to treat people and say, don't say, hey, why are you like that? Think about what happened to this person to bring them in front of you. At this, you know what I mean?
I was waiting for you to say that. I was waiting. I was hoping that you said that because that has just told me that you're moving forward in terms of your thinking as it applies to when you're creating because judges have a large swath of power, right? And so learning from the things that are happening around you, trauma informed decision making that you're doing while still following the law is incredibly important. How can people reach you to learn more about you, sir?
Well, Right now in the campaign, I have a website for the campaign, so they could always contact me at friendsofjudgechrismaddox@gmail.com. I know that's a mouthful, but that's I'm also on Facebook, Re-elect Judge Christopher R. Maddox. I'm also on
Maddox, Mattox.
TTOX. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. And just to piggyback on your last thought, now we're also trained every year. We go through a week of training. And a lot of the training has been the trauma-based decision-making, skills for judges, diversity training. All of these things are great things that are really helping to improve the system. Now, hey, the system is not perfect. It's far from perfect. But I believe, at least in Upper Darby, in my court, we're going to get there, and we're trying our best. We really are.
Judge Christopher Maddox, this was a pleasure talking to you, sir. I wish you well as you get into the primaries, which will be May 18th, and and give the people in Upper Darby my love.
I will.
It is the 5th largest diverse community in the country. Huge.
Correct.
Huge.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Recovery starts with a call. Pennsylvania's Substance Use Disorder Hotline is staffed by real people who are trained to help. They're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll get you or your loved one into treatment regardless of your access to insurance. If you or someone you know is suffering from addiction, call 1-800-662-HELP. Recovery starts with a call.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Okay, Her's new fire potato chips and cheese curls, they are spicy. Whew, they're hottest snacks yet. Hold on. Whew. But it's not just heat. There's some nice sweet and savory stuff going on too. Ooh, there's that heat again. It burns, but it burns so tasty. Ooh, that's hot. Find Her's Fire Snacks at your store today. Whew. Taste the flavor, feel the heat, break out the Her's.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy.
Are your children getting on your last nerve? And they do know where your last nerve is. This time of taking flu shots and getting testing for the virus and making decisions on which vaccination you should take. You may be all stressed out. Yelling at children and young people and hitting them will not accomplish the goals that you want. Here are a few thoughts and suggestions that are nonviolent and will bring you peaceful results in your family relationships, especially during this pandemic time. Lower your voice as you speak. Sing songs like BB and CeCe Winan. Lord, lift us up where we belong. This may lift your spirit. You may want to be alone and just think sometimes. Just got to get by yourself and think. The children are watching. They too are grieving COVID-19. 500,000 people. Many of us will remember. 500,000 people. We will remember this for years to come. Yes, we must learn to breathe again.
The Black Words Book Club.
WURD Radio's new monthly conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. For April, WURD Radio is partnering with the Free Library of Philadelphia and showcasing their pick for its annual citywide reading program, One Book, One Philadelphia, entitled The Tradition by Jericho Brown. Be sure to listen live, as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it. Tuesday, April 13th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for WURD members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit WURDradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio.
Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Kathleen, are you there? Kathleen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
You
Can you hear me?
Michael said you had something else that you had to ask?
Yeah, so one of my most positive educational experiences, and I have been working as an educator for various age groups, and I won't reveal demographics, has been three, count them, three, young men who are thoroughly charismatic, thoroughly talented, thoroughly brilliant, but yeah, they had been incarcerated for dealing drugs. And one of them asked me, do you feel unsafe around me? I'm like, nope. Because they didn't want to go back.
Right.
You know, but they're so genius. So I'm putting this question out to the universe that if actually there was enough money, we could do enough research, because I started crying when I heard this. There was a documentary on smart children, and it said something like an enormous concentration of people with very high IQ are in prison. And I was like, it was like an afterthought. Like, oh, by the way, Andrea, there's a spider on your wall, but don't worry. Like, it was like, whoa. This is not a little spider on someone's wall. This is, like, relevant. So how can we, I don't know what the word is, because I don't know how to do the right respect language, but how can we help transform, well, first of all, prevent this, because this is stupid. Like, what is going on? All these brains in prison? Like,
so if you follow the bouncing ball, it is true that a large concentration of people in prison have very high IQs. In order for you to be a drug dealer, you can't be simple, right? You have to think through the process, do what you need to do. If those young people who became drug dealers, and I literally mentored one through the court system some years ago in Philadelphia. Actually, it wasn't that long ago. I was volunteering as a mentor in the court system in Philadelphia. They'll tell you, you know, it was being shushed in class when they were in kindergarten and first, second, and third grade. No one's calling on them, and they started to feel like they were not smart enough, and so they took their talents and energy and went somewhere else. It's a systemic thing that happens now. This is why you see people who were drug dealers who came out and reformed themselves become such amazing things, because they're great business people, but people don't see it as that. They make them as the scourge of society. Now, if you had three men in your system where you were teaching that were reformed drug dealers, that means they wanted to learn. They absolutely wanted to learn. So the best thing we can do is not cast judgment, because we see oftentimes in the system the same, and I go back to this. In Lower Merion, where a large group of white young men who were in a private school got caught in the largest drug ring, and when they went to court, the judge says, I'm not putting them in prison because they have their whole lives ahead of them. So you really want to look at the unfairness and the biases in the system, and what you can do as an ally is to not perpetrate that unfairness. Does that make sense?
Oh, it totally does. Actually, I had a quick follow-up question, if that's all right. So technology and medicine, they're not connecting. It's like we have a failure to communicate from Cool Hand Luke, and that's a great thing. But so something that was bizarre to me is that, okay, there's a couple things that are bizarre. Well, there's a lot. But people with autism end up in prison. Not all, okay? I'm not saying every person with autism is a criminal, but... I talked to someone recently, and they said they were appointed something or other for the autistic thing of Pennsylvania, and all their energy was being siphoned into getting children out of prison who really don't belong there. I mean, that's a whole thing to unpack. So that was uncomfortable. I'm like, what is going on? The other thing that was uncomfortable is that I listened to an eminent doctor, this white woman, kind. She means well, and I don't mean to throw her under the bus, but she gave this goofy talk on autism, and it was like autism is comorbid with depression, with anxiety, with all the usual suspects. But I said, sweetie, you missed addiction. And I was like thinking to myself, why are people not being coded? Like, you can be both an addict and IQ and autistic. It's not a statistical improbability. Like, is that a technical thing? Like, she had looked up some database and believed the technology. I don't believe technology all the time. And it was like, so there's all these thoughts running in my head that I just want to put out to the universe. But I'd love to talk later with someone because, holy cow, if we're wasting resources putting people in prison that are autistic.
So, you know what, Kathleen? Let's see if we can find a guest. Let's see if we can find a guest to come on to talk about the autism spectrum and what that means for the people who have been diagnosed with it. I have family members who are autistic too. And so you're right. And, you know, we've really not talked. Okay, see, now that you called, now I'm going to have to get Brianna on it. We're going to get someone on to talk about autism, right? And all that comes along with it, okay?
That would be great. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, my sister. Take it easy. All right, bye-bye. Brother, spread love. What you say, man?
Child love. I never change. I'm the same thing, you know, every day still.
Yes, man. What's going on, sir?
God bless her have it. How are you today, Empress Mama Andrea?
What me day, you know, me day. Every time I talk to you, a pure pat when me are chatting us. I hope you can understand mother when I'm talking like this, right?
Mama, love comes from the art, seen as a pure communication. Can't block it. Because listen now, how much politician, politicking, them use word, but them don't mean them word. See what me I say? On a vibration every time. Give God the glory. Give thanks for Brother Mike on the boards. Thank you for your work and all the show. WRD family, everyone suffering. You know, our heart goes out to them and everyone working to make it better. May we help them with those efforts. And I ain't called to say too much real quick, but regarding the last call that the lady was talking about, the Empress, if you remember in the autobiography of Malcolm X, he shares a sentiment that the gangsters he knew, their intellectual prowess had it been utilized in an uplifting activity, how much joy we could have for our people, how much they could have done to help the situation. So may we be blessed to bring back the inspiration for intelligence.
But brother, spread love. Let's talk about this for a second. And I have 2 minutes that I can discuss this with you. Malcolm X was someone who was out in the streets, you know, ripping people off, you know, trying to make a living, essentially, right? But he was running a scam with his friend out in the streets. Once he gained the knowledge through the Nation of Islam, he elevated his thinking pattern. When he got to the Nation of Islam and realized that there were things happening there, that the things that he was taught there did not make, some of the things that he was taught did not make sense. So he still loved the Nation of Islam. He was still a Muslim, but he went to Mecca to learn some more. He came back and began having a more uplifted, enlightened conversation. And that's the thing that I'm talking about. When I say every day that we wake up, we have to challenge ourselves to grow and not stay stuck in the minutia of this is what I know, this is what I think, this is what I believe, and forget you if you don't believe what I believe. You don't grow that way, right? Nothing grows like that, right? So I want to thank you for pulling that up, sir, all right?
Well, Mama, listen now. You remember the scripture said before honor is humility. So it's up to people to have the intelligence to humble ourselves.
Yes.
Or even better, like when I read in the book of Job, and like you talked about the patience of Job and the wisdom of Solomon. Jah talked to Job, and Jah says, where were you when I hung the earth on nothing?
Yes.
Something like that, you know what I mean? So I'm paraphrasing. It's not literal, but that concept, like, hold on. If you don't understand why water was made wet, how do you think you got everything figured out?
Right.
And water is the simplest of things. Or even this, ask somebody how much does air weigh. If they can't tell you what air weighs, then, you know what I mean? It's like people got to keep, that's why I say Rastafari for the people. Emperor King Rastafari, Empress Manette. Because Rastafari is the key to bring the opening of our hearts, mind, and spirit to uplift us, you know what I mean? But one thing real quick, Mama, I wanted to say. I checked out something I was made aware of called brandnewtube.com. Not YouTube, but Brand New Tube. And on there they have a .com. On there they have a doctor named Vernon Coleman, if I remember the name correctly. He was banned on YouTube because he was bringing some alternative information, which to me seemed factually based on what's happening with the COVID-19 and the vaccines. So I would encourage you and everyone to check that out. Not to say I believe things right off the cuff.
Right, and here's the other thing, Brother Spread Love. I will go check it out, but if it is not confirmed and if it's not factual through the Center for Disease Control, I cannot come here on the air and spew it, right? Because we have to make sure that we're giving information that is sound, medically sound for people, whether we believe it or not. Does that make sense?
To me it does, but I would say one thing. Why do we use the CDC or anything the mainstream media tells us?
Yo, Brother Spread Love, listen, I'm only telling you what, so my hands are tied to a certain extent because I have to follow the FCC guidelines. I have to follow what the owner of this radio station wants. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so when I own my own radio station, I can do what I want to do.
Well, listen now. Mama, you handle the above board, and I'll deal with covert ops. How about that?
There you go. Thank you, my brother. You have a good one, okay?
Listen, give God the glory and everyone.
Yes, sir.
May be blessed to make it through and have a great one.
Yes, all right. Take it easy. All right, bye-bye. You are listening to The Source. I love the WURD listeners. I don't know how you all have issue with anybody that calls on here because everybody has their own opinion, and I love it. That's what makes the world go round. People make the world go round. All right, we'll be right back after these messages.
Hi, it's me, Gia Peppers. Tune in to More Than That with me live this weekend, or catch the show wherever you listen to podcasts. This week, I'm talking to Jamira Burley, an activist, strategist, and storyteller. Plus, we'll hear from politics and pop culture expert Mike Muse, as well as my good friend Brittany Packnett Cunningham, an activist, educator, and author. More Than That is brought to you by General Motors. Visit gm.com for more on their commitment to becoming the most inclusive company in the world.
When I think about Two Americas, I am reminded that there are two real realities here in this country, solely based on the skin color that you have, the access to wealth, and the zip code you were born into.
Black folk for the first time are connecting the dots of my one vote does count. And I think this is where we are up until 2020.
We have so much power, and if you don't believe it, look at how much we scare folks when we decide to be about our justice business.
COVID vaccines are here, and Black physicians and scientists helped to develop them. So I feel good about getting the vaccine. And with new forms of the virus now spreading, I know we need to keep up everything we're already doing. Masking up, keeping that 6-foot distance, and avoiding crowds. COVID's been doubly tough on us, so let's double down to take it down. We can do this. Learn more about getting the vaccine and slowing the spread at cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Don't miss the Dr. Emeka Show.
On its brand new day and time.
Sundays from 4 p.m. till 5 p.m. Beginning Sunday, April 4th.
Dr. Emeka.
Exclusively on WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio.
Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Oh boy, somebody must have known that Mother loves the young people, because there's a group here, Pastor Whitney L. Blunden, a ministry based in Philadelphia called Blessings from a Place Called Restoration. The Crew is their name, and their goal is to be as vocal as possible about the real issues that face today's youth. Oh my gosh, this is going to be great. So let me just see if I can introduce these people. Isaiah Mosley, 23 years old, was the first junior officer in a place called Restoration, committed to the work of the ministry, and is now the youngest department head of the sound ministry, teaching himself all the components of sound, an amazing praise dancer as well. Go ahead, Isaiah. Stephanie Kosum, a sophomore at VSU. She is the lead choreographer for Steps of Restoration. She is a place called Restoration social media guru, helping to establish their social media platforms. Christian Adderley is a junior at Roxborough High School, has been serving in ministry since the age of 13. Aaron Blunden is the son of the first family of APCRM, junior at Westchester University. He specializes in graphic arts and photography. Lamoni Simpson is a talented young man on the move for Christ, presently making moves as a junior at Johnson & Wales University, located in North Carolina. I cannot wait. Good afternoon to all of you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So who are we
Good
missing?
afternoon.
Am I missing somebody? Let's see. So all right. So you're all the young people, correct?
I think we're missing Lamani.
That's what I thought. All right. So let's see.
Also, I wasn't introduced. I'm
Cassidy.
Cassidy.
Hi, Cassidy. Tell us a little bit about you, honey.
My name is Cassidy. I am a junior at East Stroudsburg University.
Okay.
I study pre-therapeutic services. Currently, I also am a part-time business owner within I Am Academy, where I am an international trader. Period.
Did you say you're an international trader? You just perked up Mama's ears. How old are you?
I'm 21 years old.
The blood. See, this is why I love talking to y'all. This is why I love talking to y'all. Who is the one that says iPhone? I'm gonna need you to change your name so I know who I'm talking to. iPhone swiveling in his chair. So who wants to tell me about this program and what you do, and then talk to me about what are the real issues that you see you're facing? Isaiah, let's start with you.
Hi, my name is Isaiah. One of the things that we do in our church is we promote all youth. We don't discriminate. We accept everybody in our church. And one of the things that we see that's going on in our community is a lot of violence in our country.
Yes. Yes.
We as youth are a little bit hard. So I mean, it's sad to see that, but we are trying to promote our youth and see, you can do better. You don't have to do violence. There's other stuff that you can do. Most thing we try and do is get the guns off the street.
Yes, yes. Aaron, talk to me. Sir, I see you back there. What are you doing out there in the streets? Because I see a whole background behind you. I see a sky. I see a house. What you out there doing, Aaron?
Well, right now I'm just enjoying a nice day. Just got finished doing some homework.
Yeah.
But here at a place called Restoration, our biggest goal is to outreach the community. My biggest thing that I like to do at church is give back to the community, give to those in need, give to those out there who really don't have, because a lot of us are blessed to have, but a lot of us aren't so fortunate and blessed to have things. So it kind of warms my heart being in a position to be fortunate to have things and give things to people my age that they don't have, or give things to people younger than me, older than me, that they aren't blessed to have,
So Aaron, Isaiah spoke about the youth being hardened and the amount of guns on the street. What are you doing at a place called Restoration around the hardness that we see with the young people?
Well, one thing that Isaiah said that was very profound, we welcome everyone. We don't turn any. That's the big thing. I feel as though for church, people don't want to come to church, especially young people, because they feel like they're always turned down. And, one thing we do at a place called Restoration, we do not discriminate. We welcome all. We all have life, and that's what makes us better people.
Right. All right. So mute yourself for a second, Aaron. Let me ask Stephanie this question, because Stephanie, you're young, right? How old are you, Stephanie?
I am 20 years old.
So you're 20 years old. Now, you've seen some things, right? You've seen church. You've seen church in varying forms. When Aaron and Isaiah talks about being accepted however you show up, what does that look like for you? Because folks will say that, right? That you come to church and it's, well, you can't wear that. Hair can't look like that. You can't do this. So you all seem to love this place. What is it about this place that makes you feel accepted, and why would it draw in other young people?
Okay. So our church, like they said, we are a welcoming community, and our pastor really strives to get that point across. He does everything in his being to make sure that every single person in our building feels welcomed by him, his leaders, his people, and also welcomed by God. We've had certain instances or certain services where we've had people come off the street. People coming off the street, tore up, okay? And our pastor, and we're not worried about what they look like or how their hair looks or what they have on. We're worried about their spirit and why they came into this place. So that's why we love this ministry, because we can come and still find love. We can come beat up and battered and still feel accepted.
Yeah.
And not just from our pastor, but from everybody in the room. So our goal as the youth leaders is to make sure that we reach out to those young people that don't feel accepted, because here you can be accepted.
Y'all got Mother turning her head into, can I get an amen? Can we, this is what I'm talking, Aisha, okay. All right now, I'm gonna get my whole self together. All right, Cassidy, listen, man. So we you know, what Stephanie just spoke about is something that we keep hearing, right? I actually attended meetings where people from the community would say, look, we need mental health services. No one is giving us what we need. And the people in the church said to them right in front of me, well, you got to join the church. You got to join the church in order for us to help you. You know, I know you are part of the community, but I know the church is in the community, but we can't help everybody in the community. Oh, Father God. And just to hear, just the three of you have spoken, and I am so incredibly thrilled by what's coming out of your mouths, because you see, the adults can say one thing, but your vision of it, you know, makes a whole world of difference. So what is it about this ministry that draws you, Cassidy, and Mr. iPhone? Come on now, because, you know, I need to talk to you, because you still have to change your name so I know who I'm talking to. What's your name?
I'm sorry, I'm having a problem changing my name, but I'm Christian.
You're Christian. All right, so I have to stop calling you Mr. iPhone. All right, Christian. All right, okay. All right, so Cassidy and Christian, keep your phone, keep your thing on. You guys keep your thingy on, because you're live on the air, so people can see you. They want to talk to you and know who you are. And so, Cassidy, as you listen to your peers talking, and you see all of what's going on in the city right now. I just interviewed the parents of a 15-year-old, Antonio Walker Jr., who was an honor student in his class. A car drove up while he was playing basketball with his cousin, sprayed the playground, and he's gone, right? This happened on March 10th. We are now at 103 murders in the city and counting. Quite a few of them are young people. How, in your estimation, how do we reach these young people? What are we, the adults, the old heads, missing? And yes, I call myself an old head. What are we missing?
Okay, so I actually like this question. It's actually very deep. One thing that I can say that I believe like will help the older generation really reach the youth, you have to be more open to actually hearing us. Because a lot of times, like, you ever been with your parents and they'll say, okay, you can tell me anything, and then when they find out, they mad. You getting a beating for that. Well, it's like little instances like that, like when you really actually take the time out to hear what the children are saying, hear what the youth are saying, and actually like being there for them and basically just being a good steward of what you're saying. Practice what you preach. If we see that you guys are practicing what you preach, we will feel more comfortable to bring those situations up to you. We will feel more comfortable to really trust you with that vulnerable part of us that we don't trust nobody with. And I think
all right,
that's
who these children belong to? Who do these young people? I'm about to jump out of my chair and rend my clothes, because everything you're saying is what I have been saying to the old folks. They're so judgmental. Well, you know, they need to listen to us. You know, they need to. I am a middle-aged woman. And I have said to my peers over and again, you can't get blood out of a stone, right? You've got to hear them. You've got to open up spaces where they can talk without judgment. You've got to be able to, I've had people at my dinner table, Cassidy, that actively says, you know what? I'm trying to get out of the drug game. And I know you know I'm a drug dealer, but yet you invited me to your dinner, and was in tears, right? Because the thing is, we have to see people, the hurt and the thing that they're carrying inside of them, that, you know. And so we were literally working on programs to get him out of the drug game so that he could go find a decent job, do what he needs to do. He was in the kitchen washing dishes with the other folks, you know, and he was like, I've never experienced anything like this. We spend so much time judging young people, right? And that's what hardens them, as Isaiah talks about. So my message to y'all old folks who have a whole lot to say, and you don't open up your hands to help when you see that they're struggling, listen to what these young people are saying. Don't let me have another episode of The Source where we have young people on telling you exactly what needs to be done, and you ignore them, and you say, but. Don't say but. Open your ears, close your mouths and listen to what these young people are saying, because they understand what's going on out in the streets. And the way things happen with you when you were growing up is vastly different in some respects, right, today. And so, Cassidy, I'm so glad to hear you say that, right? I have a 25-year, he'll be 25 on Friday. My God, I'm getting old. Year-old son. And he was telling me one of his friends committed suicide. And he said, Mommy, the biggest problem we're having is that parents don't listen. And here you go, saying the same thing. We listen to form a response. We don't listen to fully hear and then say, and then the other question I would say to the family members, ask the student, how can I help you? You know, it may not be how you think you should be helping, but ask them, diggity dang it, ask them how can you help, and then go ahead and do what they ask you to do. Y'all know, listen, I don't know if they told you, I'm passionate about y'all. I love you all with every fiber of my being. I feel like I know each and every one of you, and I could hug you all, because without you, it's like the village is on fire if we don't take care of you, right? If we don't hear you and what you have to say. So, Christian, thank you. Thank you so much. Lord, I got to keep track of the time because I love young people so much. Michael will be telling me, shut up. I ain't going to commercial. So, Christian, where do you fall in this, sir, young man? What's going on? What can you tell us about what's happening in the city? You see the violence, you see the fighting, you see what's going on in social media. Is it true that social media has become the place where beef start? Is that true, Christian?
Yes.
Oh, well, everybody nodded. Okay. Okay.
I totally agree. I feel as though like our generation of kids, like they're running around angry with no guidance. So I feel like social media for them is like an outlet to like let out everything that they're going through, or like they use social media, because social media nowadays, if you want to say something, put it on social media, everybody will see it. Social media is like when you post stuff on social media, it spreads like wildfire. Mm-hmm. So I think as youth, that's one of our biggest problems. We have to watch what we post on social media, mm-hmm. like what we post on there, how we conduct ourselves, what we say, because mm-hmm. social media doesn't help for youth. And I feel like social media has a lot to do with like kids getting killed in these deaths, because a lot of stuff starts on social media and it ends up in real life. And as youth, we have to change our way how we post on social media and leave certain stuff out of social media. Certain stuff that goes on in real life should never touch social media at all. Agreed. But somehow, some way, it always does.
Agreed. And do you believe, is it in your estimation, do you think that social media just becomes the way for people to say what's on their minds without thinking about it, without thinking about the consequences, yes. until they meet up on each other in the street and then it's a problem?
Yes. Like people just be on social media just talking. And you got to watch what you post, like I was saying, because what you say on social media can catch up to you in real life.
So can we talk about that, Christian? So did you see the black woman who was about to get a VP position at this major magazine, and she had written a couple of tweets 10 years ago that was anti-Asian? She lost her job before she could even get comfortably in her seat, the $200,000 job. She lost it, right? So explain to people why they have to be very mindful, and that why when they put stuff out there, it never fully goes away. Explain that to them, Christian.
Because if you sow a seed now, you don't know how that seed might progress later. So if you're sowing it now and you posted it on social media now, you don't know what position you might be in, and whoever watching you might look at that comment 10 years ago, 5 years ago. You don't know how that comment might affect you. So whatever seed you're going to sow now, you have to be mindful of how it's going to grow later. That's how I would say. Watch the seed you sow.
I'm about to cry. You all are just... So a place called Restoration, where is it located, and how did you all come together for this? Because, you know, this... Tell me, Aaron, how did a place called Restoration start, and how did you all come together for this work?
Well, a place called Restoration started from a small visionary, my dad. He had an idea, he game planned, and he turned it into something that was bigger than he even knows to this day. Even what we're doing right now, we're speaking through technology, but we're reaching millions of people that we don't even know that we're doing right, touching. So many things through the internet. It's just giving us so many ample opportunities. But we are located in West Oak Lane, Philadelphia, 5946 Ogons Avenue, right down the street from Central High School.
Oh, I know where you are. Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if a young person wants to become a part of this, because there are young people watching, or there are family members who are watching who don't know what to do with their young person. If a family member wants to get their young person involved in a place called Restoration, how do they go about doing it?
Well, being as though we're in new times and we have the COVID going on, we are available on Instagram at a place called Restoration. You can easily DM us. We're welcoming. All of my peers, we all have our own social media handles as well. Mine is at YUK1STCLASS.
Oh yeah,
if you want to reach out.
Wait, hold up. Slow it down for Mother, because I caught none of that. What was your handle again? Yours is Y2KKBBCC. What was that again?
At YUK.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1.
Uh-huh.
STCLASS.
You know what?
And you can reach out to us and DM us and say that you interested in learning about God. You want to meet up at the church.
Yeah.
We can meet you anywhere. We can handle it in a nice and socially distanced manner.
Right. So thank you, Aaron. Mute yourself again, honey. So let me somebody's talking to me in the chat. Who is talking to me? Who is talking to Mother in the chat? Okay, that's all. You all are hilarious. So let me ask you this. What is the most pressing issue for you individually? I am going to take a quick break, and then when I come back, I want each of you to answer this question. What is the most pressing issue for you in 2021? Is it COVID? Is it the race in America, what's going on in the country? Is it the fact that you're not being heard? Is it the fact that your peers are just not doing well? Or is it that you are doing well and we don't see it because we're so busy looking at the negative in all the things that are going on around you? I need you to tell me when we come back from this break, what is the thing that most impacts you individually? All right? Hold on one second. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we will be right back after these messages.
Just one more step. You got it.
You're doing great. This is the sound of a nationally ranked top rehabilitation hospital, home to the largest collection of robotics in the United States, where we continually exceed patient expectations. Because no injury is too severe or too minor for our care.
There you go.
This is the sound of success. Moss Rehab. Challenge accepted.
This WURD Wellness Vignette is brought to you by Keystone Plus. WURD Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation
as we continue to navigate the pandemic together.
Hi, this is Halana, your resident health and wellness coach, with tips to help you stay well. We often think writing is just for authors, but wait, let's think about this for a moment. When we journal every day, we open space to process our emotions and reflect on our day. Daily journaling can be done like this. Number 1, find a comfortable place to sit still for a few minutes. Number 2, write in your journal 3 things you're grateful for that day. Number 3, do this both morning and night. We sometimes think keeping a daily journal has to be a cumbersome and difficult thing, but even just journaling a few minutes a day can make a big difference. Go ahead and try it today. Stay well with WURD. Happy living.
Stay well with WURD. Connect with us at WURDradio.com. This WURD Wellness Vignette was brought to you by Keystone Plus.
Thinking about retirement? Make sure a My Social Security account is a part of your plan. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can find out if you're eligible to receive benefits, compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates, view spousal benefit estimates, and more. Plan for your future. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Want the latest in WURD swag?
Check out the shop tab on WURDradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WURDradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black.
Talk Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio.
Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
You're just joining us. I am on the line with a group of young people from a place called Restoration. They're in West Oak Lane at 5946 Ogans Avenue. If you are missing this interview, all I can tell you is I'm going to show how old I am. Go back and rewind the tape. and tell somebody about this here. All right, so now the question that I asked you before you went to break was, what is the most pressing thing for you individually on your heart and mind? What's the thing that is either making you happy or bothering you as a young person? Isaiah, I'm going to start with you first, honey.
Well, the most depressing thing that I go through is because of COVID now, we all shut in the house. Mm-hmm. So the most thing that is the issue is that, you don't have a whole lot of time to socialize. Yeah. Because when you're stuck in the house, all you have time for is your thoughts. So that's the most hard thing for me as a young person, because, as you know, the devil's always busy. So, yes. That's the most hard thing for me as right now. So
would you say that it's causing you anxiety? If you say the thing you're thinking about is your faults, would you say that sitting around in the house is causing you anxiety? So how do you help yourself out of that? How do you get support from that, Isaiah?
Well, by going to the scripture, by saying one of the scriptures says that, God have not given you a spirit of fear, but a love of a sound mind. Mm-hmm. So by me going to a scripture and reading it, it gives me peace and it gives me hope and joy. Mm-hmm. So COVID may be in the world, but, right now, going to church, being my pastor, helping him out, in the ministry, it gives the devil no time to get control over it.
It keeps you active, right? Keep yourself active, right? Because you heard me talking about my youngest son. We've lost quite a few young people last year. And so to hear you saying, first of all, to hear you acknowledge that there is an issue, right? Because I've got old grown folks who won't even acknowledge that COVID and being locked up in our homes caused us to have a lot of anxiety. To hear you saying it so openly, without fear, it's going to give someone else the courage to come and speak about it. You understand what I'm saying, Isaiah?
Yes.
So I appreciate you, my brother. I do appreciate you for opening up and saying that. So thank you. All right, Cassidy, what is the most pressing thing for you?
Okay, so for me right now, I would say the most pressing thing for me would be financial freedom. Mm-hmm. I know that being a minority, African American, or any minority in general, just being counted out, being thought of as less than, being thought of as not worthy of the same level of achievement as anybody else, even because I'm a woman. And I feel like recently, I've started to find myself and I started to find my financial freedom. A lot of people think because of COVID and, jobs shutting down and we're home now, okay, I can't work. That is not true. You have financial freedom at your fingertips. You just have to plug into it.
So tell them, give them an idea. Girl, if I am trying to tell you, if you all were in the studios, I'd be hugging all of you right now. Give them one or two clues, Cassidy, around what financial freedom from home looks like.
Okay, so it looks like investing. Stop spending so much money on things that don't get you money back in return. You have to be willing to put in to receive. You can't be stingy with what you put in and expect to receive a lot.
Lord. Yes, Cassidy, yes. And so beautiful, right? So one of the things that I've been saying, my oldest son does this all the time. He started doing this before he started going to college. He said, Mom, what are the penny stocks? What are the stock options that are out here? And you can go on apps now and buy your stocks, right? So you get a $1,400, let's say, stimulus money. And you can buy a whole lot of stock. Right now, some airlines, their stocks are under $20 a share, right? And we all know that folks are going to go back out and go flying after some point, and those stocks are going to go up. There are stocks that are $5 and $6 a share, $16 a share. You take that and you invest that and watch it grow and then get, girl.
But can I say one more thing,
yes,
please?
Cassidy.
Okay, so it's actually even bigger than stocks.
Go ahead, Cassidy. Go ahead. I was just giving them an option, girl. I was just giving them an option. Give them over the biggest thing. Give them over bigger than that. Go ahead, Cassidy.
Yes. So I trade within the foreign exchange currencies. That's the $7.3 trillion market. It's way bigger than stocks. We now can profit from the market going up or down. And you can do it from the comfort of your home. You can do it on your phone. You can do it anywhere.
I'm going to need you all to pay attention to what's going on over here in these Wakandan streets. I had no idea you knew about the foreign currency. You better come on with it. How old are you, Cassidy?
I'm 21.
So how did you learn about the foreign exchange currency and the stock market and all of those things? What got you engaged in that process?
It was actually Stephanie. Stephanie had found it before me, and then we networked, and then, yeah.
Looking out for each other. I'm so proud of you. I could burst. Yes. All right. Okay. So, all right. Thank you so much, Cassidy. You gave the people. I hope the people are watching and listening, because we do a whole lot of complaining, right? We don't think about this. Your little monies are coming in, and you're getting the child tax credit, and life is rough. You got to invest something to get something out. That's how you build wealth in this country. All right, Aaron, your turn, honey. What's the most pressing thing on your mind?
The most pressing thing on my mind right now is that I think COVID allowed everyone to realize what was actually going on in the world. I believe a lot of these things were already accepted, but we were, kind of asleep to the things that were going on. So for me going forward, I had to say, well, being as though that I was sleeping, I wasn't moving a certain way that I should have, how can I wake myself up and be better than I was last year before COVID? I made some poor decisions, and I feel like I had time to reflect and look at everything now and just only have room for improvement. I have no room for regression.
Wow. Aaron, I'm going to need to get you all off my radio station, because I can't. I'm about to burst in this here office. I don't know what to do with myself. Thank you. And Stephanie, what is the most pressing thing on your mind?
There are actually two things that bother me the most during this time. I've said it already. One of them is, like, I feel like youth as a whole are just completely unheard in some situations. And then the second thing that's really bothering me is the racial inequality that we are still facing till this day. Growing up, we had history class. We learned about how people of our color were treated back in the day, and then we learned about slavery, and they watered it down. We learned about certain situations with Rosa Parks and Harriet Tubman, things like that. But the older that I have become and watching these things actually happen in my eyes, watching it happen, it really breaks my heart. I feel as though it's been so long since we've been on this walk of inequality, and I just feel like it makes us feel trapped a certain way, because it's like, are we ever going to get out of it? And then the unheard part, I believe that ties into a lot of the violence that's going on in the city of Philadelphia. I'm currently in Virginia. I'm located in Virginia, not too far from my school. And all my social medias are, I follow people from Philly. So as I'm sitting in Virginia and I'm looking at my phone and I see this young person has been gunned down, and then this young person has been gunned down, and this baby has been shot on her porch, and this guy was gunned down in his driveway in front of his mom. It's really a lot to see. And I feel like we have to get to the root of the issue, and we can't get to the root of the issue if we're not listening to what the people are saying. If we're not taking what they're saying and receiving it, we'll never get to the root. And if you don't get to the root, you can't pull that plant. You can't pull that weed and toss it. We can't get rid of it. So I feel like that's the biggest thing for me. I feel like we need to work on being heard, or letting people know that we hear them. Because if someone came to me at the church, I have this gun in my hand, I'm about to go shoot this guy, and I'm like, all you good for is shooting. You don't know nothing. You ain't never going to be nothing. What are they going to do? They're
go ahead and go shoot.
Go ahead and
Absolutely.
shoot them. But if I say, I hear you, what is it? Talk to me. We can fix it. You don't have to do this. You don't have to go down that road. I won't turn you in. We'll work on it together. I'll accept you for who you are and what you're going through in your mind and your changes. Then we may be able to avert him to another line to walk down. So I feel like we have to get to the root of the issue with that. And then I also feel as though we all, as a community, we have to figure out a way to get over this inequality thing because it's bigger than us and it's bigger than what we see.
So, okay, to the parents that are on social media, if I were not on the air, I'd be losing my minds right along with all of you. These young people are brilliant, right? And I've always said that the gems that are out here, if we would just listen. So I've got a follow-up question for you, Stephanie, and then I'm coming to you, Christian. Lord Jesus. I'm in my 50s, right? Mm-hmm. And I was born and raised in Jamaica. So I didn't see inequality at this level until I came to this country. So there's a good section of my life where I grew up and saw people that looked like me doing amazing things. And even I, who was not born and raised in it, steeped in it, I'm becoming very frustrated, you know, about what is this going to look like for us. We've worked so hard. We've tried everything. They say, go get the college degrees. We got everything right up to the doctorate level, right? You got to get certified. We get all of that. We make the money. We do, and we're still treated like second-class citizens. How do you think this younger generation will be able to push forward? Because our parents have been going at it for a long time. How do you think your generation will be able to push forward the narrative to create the changes that we need so that your children's children won't be still talking about this madness 40, 60 years from now?
Right. So I feel like, so like a lot of people my age at this time were 20, 21 in that age range. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we have to know for a fact that what the other people are saying about us or what they're making us or painting this picture for us to be, that is not true. I feel like you just have to know for yourself who you are, what you're going to stand for, and what you're not going to stand for. And in the next decade or so, we all will have our own children, God's will. And we have to implement in them that no matter what somebody may call you, say you look like, or you can't do this because you look this way, it doesn't matter. So I feel like it has to start with the mind, because back during slavery time, all they told them were lies.
And the lies continue, except it's in modern day.
Yeah, so now we have a bunch of people walking around with their head filled with lies and things that don't even make sense. So I feel like it starts with you. You have to look at yourself and figure out who you are. You're not what people say you are. Figure out who you are and what it is that you can do. Because as we have seen, Black excellence is taking off.
Come on.
We now have a Black woman in office as vice president. That has never happened before. Things are changing, so I feel like we have to take that change, kick it up a notch, and turn it back onto yourself. Self-reflect, so then when we do begin to have our own children and they have their children, we have installed in them that no matter what they say, it doesn't really matter.
Absolutely. Emotional intelligence is key here. The person who is able to look at the thing that's being said and recognize that is not who they are, and are able to continue to build upon the positive things that are happening around them and in their community, is the one that will win every single day. The ones that get emotional about the things that are being said about them and screaming and hollering and ranting with no real rhyme or reason around how they're going to solve or fix anything will always be caught up in the minutia of the language that is being spewed about us. There are people in this country that put billions of dollars into spreading conjecture. Yeah. Because it works, right? It works on the millions of minds. And so a strong mind is one that cannot be moved. And so you're perfectly right, Stephanie. All right, Christian. Lord, I don't even know, Christian. I don't even know if I can hear what you've got to say, because the other four just set my teeth on edge over here. So what is most pressing for you?
I think what's most pressing for me is COVID and being in school, and then like being a junior is totally different. I didn't plan on spending my junior year home and being virtually, and I feel like virtually for kids, it's a lot, because it's a lot of kids that don't come from a good home. Yeah. They might be home, it might be arguing going on, or maybe they don't have a place to stay, or maybe they don't have no Wi-Fi to be on class, or maybe wherever they at virtually, they can't do it, or they might have serious situations in their life that cause them, they can't be on school virtually, they can't attend class every day, they can't do the homework that's being provided. And I just feel like COVID for school, like it really messed us up this year. And like, you know, kids is getting very, you know, discouraged emotionally, like they giving up. They're not trying to keep pressing through based on, and COVID really messed it up for kids in school. I just wish like COVID never happened. So kids can go out and enjoy their junior year. Junior year, nobody want to be home in their junior year. Junior year, I'm hyped again. Junior year, I'm trying to be in school. I'm trying to enjoy my junior year because I never been there before. So that's one of the issues for me is school and COVID. And our teachers really don't give us that much leeway. I can say for my school, it's like they post an assignment, they're expecting it to be done. When they post it, if you're going through anything, they really not trying to hear that. They really don't accept what you're going through.
Where are you in school now, Christian? Where are you in school now?
I'm in Roxborough.
You're at Roxborough. So at Roxborough High School. I asked you that because I hear that all the time. I hear that all the time. I spoke to some young people from Martin Luther King Junior High School. Oh, look, Isaiah reappeared to me. And they said that the teachers give them no leeway, and they don't understand what is it that they're going through. They're just thinking, well, you're home doing absolutely nothing, and nothing could be further from the truth, right? Because all the stuff that's happening inside your homes, from not having to be at college, from not having to be at high school, from missing out on several things, from, you know, recruiters finding you depending on what you want to do, or, you know, taking the SATs, all those things are shifted. So what's a lesson that you learned from COVID and all that it has created, Christian? What's a lesson that you learned personally?
A lesson that I learned, I would say doing all this in COVID and being in school, a lesson that I learned, like, you have to be very strong and independent. You have to learn how to be very independent and do it on your own, because a lot of people don't have people that's pushing them to do the right thing all the time, push them in the right directions, to be great, to be something great in life. A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have people that's pushing them. So one thing I can say for me, we have to learn how to be independent and strong and keep pressing through. It's always light at the end of the tunnel, but you have to believe that there's light at the end of the tunnel. You have to keep pressing on. So, and for me to learn that, like, I had to be very strong and independent and do a lot of stuff on my own.
And can I tell you this, Christian? When you become an adult and graduate from wherever you're going, if it's trade school, college, whatever, the lessons that you're learning down here in high school because of COVID is going to be immeasurable when you become an adult and start to live through life, and understanding that you have to pivot and turn, and that there's no straight path anywhere. So you're learning that now, and it's frustrating, but you're literally getting there. I can see from listening to you talk that you are getting those lessons at a much earlier age than you probably would have. And so, wow, I'm so impressed. I love you all. I just met all of you, but you all have got to come back on this show and tell me where you are in a few months. Is that all right?
That's great.
And please let the people at the place called Restoration know that they are killing it over there. You all are litty. You all are litty. I love it. It is at 5946 Ogons Avenue in West Oak Lane. Is there a phone number to the place where people can reach you guys?
Just give them an email and
I hear an adult. Who's the adult? Who's the adult in the background?
That is Pastor.
Let me see Pastor. Where is he?
Bless you. How you doing?
Child, let me just tell you, Pastor, listen, come into the camera so I can see your face, sir. Come into the camera. So, listen, do you see me over here having a whole moment? Let him sit down, Christian. Let me and Pastor have a whole conversation. These young people, do you know how often I have been in churches where they say the pastors don't care about the people, where they say that they're being judged, where they don't want to hear? Do you understand what you have created here, sir?
Yes, I do. I do. I believe positive exposure is going to keep us from a whole lot of traumatic outcomes. The thing is, we want to try to put a Band-Aid on trauma after it happens. You have to expose before the trauma hits. And if we can use that strategy, then we're going to see a whole lot of things change in our communities.
Yes. Thank you so much. I'd like to invite them back on. Okay?
Yes.
Oh, if that is okay.
And I'm so proud of them. They did an awesome job. And their Tuesday night Bible encounter that they do is called Youth Voices Raise Up. I let them have it, just like today. I just wanted their voices to be heard, because you won't know the deposit until you shut up and let them talk. And that's all I wanted to happen. So I'm so proud of them. Every one of them did a phenomenal job.
They did. They made me spin in my
chair. Thank you. Because you built the platform.
You are
We need a platform that our youth can talk intelligently and stop being stereotyping our children because of the mistakes that they made.
Yes, yes.
So
sir.
I thank you.
You were quite welcome. You were quite welcome. I absolutely, young people, when I was asked to do this show and they asked me what my platform was going to be, I said, let's just start with the young people, shall we? Educate. I am so serious. Anytime you all want to come and talk and dissect what's going on in your communities and dissect what you're working on and how you're helping others and how others can help you, please reach out to my producer. I will happily have you on every day and sometimes on Sundays. Do you understand? Now, you all go out there and knock it out the park. You continue to show people what is possible and bring up your peers right alongside you so that more of you can continue to shine as brightly as the five of you are. Okay? Bye. It was so nice talking to all of you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having us.
You're so welcome. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. I love young people. I love young people. And there's just something about young people. I'm just trying to tell you, honey. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we will be right back after these messages.
COVID vaccines are here, and Black physicians and scientists help to develop them. So I feel good about getting the vaccine. And with new forms of the virus now spreading, I know we need to keep up everything we're already doing. Masking up, keeping that 6-foot distance, and avoiding crowds. COVID's been doubly tough on us, so let's double down to take it down. We can do this. Learn more about getting the vaccine and slowing the spread at cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Buying something from a dealer just sounds a bit, well, put it like this. My cousin Ray Ray got arrested for buying something from a dealer. So why would you want to buy your car from a dealer? Hi, everybody. This is Nick inviting you to buy your next car from Jerry over at Cardex. See, they're not dealers. They're like a car concierge service. They design a car around you. Almost any make. If it's not on the lot, they'll go out and get it for you. So use my car concierge, where I've already bought 4 cars. Cardex at 116 East Glenside Avenue in Glenside, Pennsylvania. Check them out online at cardexinc.com. Or call Cardex at 215-886-3230.
Tune into Reality Check, hosted by Charles Ellison, Wednesdays at noon for Tech Life Steph and the latest digital tips of the week. Brought to you by Comcast. It's Women's History Month, and we want to honor Black women authors by helping you level up and read up. Join the Forward movement and get a free copy of a book from one of the most influential Black women today. For a limited time, you can add The Little Book of Big Lies by Tina Lifford, She Came to Slay by Erica Dunbar, Sing Unburied Sing, a novel by Jesmyn Ward, or Acts of Faith by Iyanla Vanzant to your reading collection. Level up and read up. Go to wordradio.com/join now to join or renew your Forward membership and get your free book today.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio.
Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Oh my gosh, the young people, the young people, the young people. I love them. I don't even want to talk about nothing else. I can't. But let me go over here quickly before I get Bill back on the phone. The Community College of Philadelphia hosts the CCP Votes Kickoff event commemorating Octavius Cato's journey to voting equity. That happened at 1 p.m. today to commemorate the life and legacy of Octavius Cato. Hashtag CCP Votes is a multi-year civic engagement initiative designed to engage students in the college community and the electoral process. The college is providing program leading up to the Pennsylvania primary election on May 18th. And so, you know, that would be good if you all can get engaged in that if you are someone that is a part of that, of that college. I do love the Community College of Philadelphia. I have never been shy to talk about the work that they're doing over there because I just believe there's something going on here. So let me, Bill, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, sir. So what can I do for you?
Well, I want to, first of all, thank you for the young people and the conversation they had. That was really, really enlightening from their point of view, and yes. The pastor's doing a great job. Mm-hmm. one of the things that I wanted to point out to the community, and let me tell you a little about me, since the other people that call in get to tell who they are and they don't sound so fanatical. After you find out their credentials. I'm born in Philadelphia, Johnson Projects, right there, Ridge Avenue, 25th Street. I've traveled this country extensively, lived on almost every corner of the country and some in between. I have worked with children and students for over 30 years as a bus driver, as a recreation specialist, and as you stated in your last segment, you love community college. I just so happened to retire from community college in 2012. So I am a part of this community. My family's here, all my sisters here. My sister worked with Jeff for 46 years. So my interest in the community comes out of love, and I am a senior citizen now. I'm almost 70 years old. And my point is trying to keep my 93-year-old father from taking something that may be detrimental to him. Now, I know you have guidelines that you have to stay within your broadcast, so I'm going to try not to, trample on that and put you in that situation. But I want to discuss the FLCCC, which you can pull up on YouTube right now, and take a look at yourself. And it's called the Frontline COVID-19 Critical Care Alliance. And these are doctors who cured Louis Gossett Jr. when he was almost dying from COVID. And this drug has been around forever. They finally convinced the National Institute of Health to revise its study on ivermectin, and they found that in
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead, sir. I have like 3 minutes left, so I'm trying to get you to get the,
Okay, well, he prevented the staff from getting sick. And I don't need to sell it to you. I just wanted you to take a look at it. And you have the platform to where you can inform our people that they do not necessarily have to take something that is dangerous to them. Okay, because the agenda that's being pushed, as far as I'm concerned, is to exterminate us. Okay? Now, this is Black Radio, so I want to feel comfortable being able to say that on Black Radio. I feel like the agenda that's being pushed with these vaccines, Bill Gates and his wife came out and said Black people should get it first. Why? We're always being convinced that our community is in more danger than any other. Why? Someone else's agenda is at play here, and it's not ours. And we got to stop letting people pick our agenda. So when we find people who we can ally with, they may not be Black, they may be white. Let's face it, the Underground Railroad was formed by whites to help Blacks get out of the situation they were in. So there are white people here that are actually trying to help. And these doctors in this coalition or this alliance are trying to help people, because I watched them cry over their patients dying, and they said they couldn't take it anymore. So please share your audience to the FLC information on the internet so that they can make an informed decision and not a program national agenda to vaccinate or exterminate a bunch of people.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bill. I'm going to look it up myself, okay? I can promise you that.
Thank you so much.
All right? All right. You have a good one, sir. It's always a pleasure. It is important to me that everybody gets their voices. Oh, Gary. How are you, Gary?
Yeah, I'm fine. How are you?
I thought that was it.
Wow. I had to call in. First of all, I want to thank you for giving our young people that platform to express themselves. Because too often in the news media, they always show the negative. We have so many young people that are doing great things. That was like a breath of fresh air.
Wasn't it?
I mean, they were so articulate and well versed and just intelligent. And I just wanted to say, I'm just proud of our young people because like I said, we always hear the negative. Let's start praising our young people when they're doing great things, and let's start highlighting it more than we highlight the negative. So thank you so much for giving that platform. Giving that platform, Andrew. Very much appreciated.
Oh, you're quite welcome, my brother. You have a good day, okay?
You too.
All right, bye-bye. All right, so listen, we're coming to the end of another episode of The Source. Now, you just heard Mr. Bill talk about the fact that there are alternatives to the vaccine. I can't promote or deny any of that. I have to follow the CDC guidelines. Let me see. Michael is texting me again. Oh, my. Ken from West Philly. You all are. Hi, Ken. How are you?
I'm doing well, ma'am. How are you doing out there?
Oh, I know this, Ken. How are you, sir?
Yeah, ma'am. I'm the communist. Hey, look. I have had my vaccine. I've got my first shot of it. My significant other, she has her first shot. Everybody in my family's got them. My boy Larry, I don't think he listens this time. He listens in the morning. He got his shot. Look, this is the deal. If you get more than one shot of the Johnson & Johnson, you will have big problems. So there has been a video up where a nursing home, a fellow had already been vaccinated, but somebody made a mistake and gave him a second shot of the Johnson & Johnson, and he had a big problem. Same thing happens if you get 3 shots of Moderna or the other one. Don't do 3. They'll give you 2. That's all you need right now until they get a booster. The key problem is this. Nobody's trying to exterminate anybody. Here's what's going on. And I really want you to sit down and write these numbers down, brother. I heard you. I feel for you. And I really hope somebody can get to the Nation of Islam and to Minister Farrakhan because it's necessary. If you look at the numbers of people, 1 out of 5 of the people who are dying of COVID, 1 out of 5 are us. 1 out of 5. That's 20%. We got 13% of the population in the United States. If you multiply that out, I did. It's scary. There's 500,000 people in total dead right now, right? 500,000. If they were trying to exterminate us, the ones that aren't getting the COVID vaccine, if you look at the 1 out of 5, if you multiply that out, the numbers of white people dead right now would be 2 million, something like 200 or 400,000. It would be in the 2 million range. And the quiet thing about it is that if white folks are getting this and they're keeping their deaths down to, at the moment, about 400,000 people, we got 100,000 people dead, black folks, already. Twice as many people are dead because we didn't get the vaccine in time. They're gone. I got friends who are black. My boy Larry, his brother rolled. I love the man. He's gone. He was in his 80s. We don't understand a lot of times that what is necessary to be done to keep us here is what we got to do right now, this one, or else there will be nobody looking like us on the planet of Earth if we don't get vaccine. And the key thing is over in other countries where they haven't been able to get people vaccinated fast enough who look like you and me. People are dying like flies. You wouldn't believe it. In the United States, we got the highest level of death in the world here. Because people aren't getting the vaccine. Look, I'm not going to take up a lot of time.
I literally have to get off the air now. I'm done. My show is finished, and I have to let Nick Taliaferro come on. So can you call me back on Thursday? Let's have more conversation about it. Can you do that?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
He's a good guy.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Listen, I got to go. I couldn't read a bit of the news. I love you all so much. So much was going on today. But I just need you all to look at what's going on in Miami Beach, and your children that are in college, that are on spring break, that are down there fighting and doing what they need to do. Please get a hold of them, find out where they are, and make sure that they're not continuing to spread what's going on out here. Coming up next is Nick Taliaferro with Evening Words. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.